paid off 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. One call, life changed. There's no wait, no hard credit pull up front. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates are at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto, A+ rated with the BBB and nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 and see how much cash you can get today. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171 on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Fumble in the food on game day? Rookie move. But you know Bo can make your tailgate a winner, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Because the Carolina Legend has everything you're craving. We're talking crispy, juicy chicken loaded with real Southern flavor, fluffy, scratch-made buttermilk biscuits, and all the fixins to feed your whole crew faster than you can say touchdown. Be the MVP this season and let Bojangles do the cooking. Order your tailgate today. It's Bo time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's Bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's Bow time.
YouTube TV customers, you could lose ESPN and the sports you love, including college football, college game day, Monday Night Football, NBA, college basketball, and more. Take action. Go to keepmynetworks.com to keep ESPN.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at richielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Boy, you needed this rain. We're going to see it really picking up in intensity late this afternoon and overnight. And it doesn't necessarily stop until Thursday morning. So we should get a good soaking, but also some chilly temperatures. Just 57 this afternoon, upper 40s overnight tonight, and mid 50s again tomorrow.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcomb&company.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 239 points to 47,446.
Here's a turnover. Blake with it, and he scores! Oh, what hands Jackson Blake off the face-off. Heiskanen gets it back now. Trying to send it, deflects, they score. A power play goal. Jason Robertson out front. Heiskanen is going to get the credit for it, and it's 3-2 Dallas. Aho tees it up. That's blocked before it can get through. 2 seconds left. Nadeau fires it. That's deflected, and the horn goes.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm Tim Donnelly. Max Gorham producing the show today. Dennis extending the weekend. Gosh darn it, I hate having to be accountable. When things were going well last week, I started the show before the big 3 at 3 with, everyone's over 500. This team won, that team won.
Gosh, everybody just can't stop winning around here, can they?
So I do feel like I have to say this. Less of a winning weekend than we had gotten used to over the last couple of weeks. Panthers smoked by Buffalo. Canes lost to Dallas. The Hornets did bounce back, but they also had a loss to the 76ers.
A game they should have won, I will note.
They were ahead darn near all of it. NC State smoked. UNC played football but lost. there's a different vibe. If there's something you want to sound off on, anything I mentioned or beyond, feel free, because at 4:15, we will open up the phone lines for a Monday sound off. 919-860-5326. You can bookmark the phone number now, but the phone lines will open at 4:15 for a Monday sound off. You get to drive the show. 919-860-5326. I think I have fulfilled our obligations to be accountable and give the same attention to wins as losses. And now we can start the show with the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Carolina Panthers got smoked by Buffalo. There are probably two conversations around this game. There's Andy Dalton, and then there's the rest of it. Neither went well, but they are independent of each other. I will be the first to say, speaking of accountability, I was wrong about Andy Dalton's ability to keep the train on the tracks. I thought he could veteran it, right? I thought he could know when to throw it away. I thought he could protect the football. I thought he could get him in the right play, and that didn't happen. And I thought the best chance for the Panthers to have a shot against Buffalo was to do what they've been doing for Bryce Young, which is run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, pass when necessary, and play really good defense. Within what they asked the quarterback to do, Andy Dalton wasn't good enough. That's part of it. The other part is, outside of what they asked the quarterback to do, they weren't good enough. Play calling. And it's not even play calling, it's like personnel calling. I have absolutely no idea why you would be okay going entire drives offensively without Rico Dowdle having his imprint on that game.
I don't know why they're so committed to this drive-by-drive sub, like refusal mid-drive to spell one with the other, or even no looks. Like, I've been thinking they should have a couple looks where maybe they put both of them out there just to try to confuse the defense a little bit, but it's just been one for the whole drive. All right, next one. Rico, you're out there for this drive. Oh, we went 3 and out. Too bad. Next drive's Chuba's drive. He's back out there now.
You were just producing the Adam Gold show, so obviously you couldn't hear the press conferences. It does sound as if Dave Canales, through his language and attitude at the press conference this afternoon, has seen what we've seen the past 2 weeks and is likely to turn the backfield over to Rico Dowdle. Basically like thanking Chuba Hubbard for his service, it sounded like. You know, he's a guy that we wanted to give a chance after the calf. And the frustrating part is this isn't 2020 hindsight. It's not. About halfway through last week, should have been obvious that Rico was the dude. This week, it's inexcusable. They went from 1:02 left in the second quarter, 1 minute and 2 seconds left before half, until under 5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter between Rico Dowdle touches. Not to mention entire drives in the early part of the game that he didn't touch the ball. The defense, the run defense, run the ball and stop the run. They did not stop the run. And it wasn't it was an exceptional effort from James Cook, but it wasn't a superhuman effort from James Cook. He had an absurd amount of production before contact. An absurd amount. He'd have to break tackles. He just ran through gaping holes and then accelerated. That was his whole goal. That right there is the issue. That you're going to hear a stat from me a whole bunch of times today. James Cook had 130 rushing yards before halftime. Correction. James Cook had, that sounded bad, right? But it's worse. James Cook had 130 rush yards before contact at halftime. That would have been the most in a total game this season. He had 130 rush yards before contact at halftime. Hard to say the run defense did their job, and that's independent of what Andy Dalton was doing. So there's two separate conversations that need to be real. There's Andy Dalton, not good enough. Veteran didn't step in and do what you pay a veteran backup to do. And the rest of the team didn't do what's been working, which is taking so much pressure off the quarterback. That's number one. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
Canes lost to Dallas. The Carolina Hurricanes lost to the Dallas Stars. On the road, it was at Dallas, game 6 of a long road trip, dealing with the injuries that we've highlighted that they've been dealing with. From a competitor standpoint, you would have liked for them to have, bullied Mikko Rantanen and got the win, and Logan Stankoven could have scored a couple, and it would have made that trade feel a little bit more joyful today. But Rantanen had a couple points, and you lost the game 3-2. That is what it is. I would be lying. And we'll talk about this at 3:15 in further depth, but I would be lying if there isn't a good amount of survival going on right now with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Absolutely. And it sounds like some of the guys who've been hurt are like Gostisbehere back at practice today. Keandre Miller, apparently prognosis is not too bad. He might be back kind of soon. Kochetkov was back on the ice at practice today. So
all correct. I'll give you the full breakdown here. Walt Ruff, team reporter for the Canes, put it out after they had the availability with Rod Brindamore earlier today. Gostisbehere with the lower body injury could return as soon as tomorrow. It'll depend on his comfort, not on the injury, on his comfort after just one practice getting back into the mix. Kochetkov with that lower body injury, the goalie who we have yet to see this year, will return very, very soon. Tomorrow could be an option, but not a guarantee, according to Walt Ruff. I will say Brandon Bussey has played well in his stead. Keandre Miller, also close to a return from a lower body injury, not expected to play tomorrow, but to use a Rod term, he's, quote, around the corner. Jacob Slavin is still a little ways away with the lower body injury, and while William Carrier and Eric Robinson are still out, expected to be out a long time, no surgery will be needed for either, which it's always good news when you can avoid going under the knife. When it takes me, whatever that took me, 90 seconds to update the injuries, you're going through it.
after 8 games of the season.
You're going, yeah, and 6 of them consecutively on the road. They'll be at home tomorrow against Vegas. They're going through it. There's a bit of survival, and I think they've done better than just survive. Little small things that you obviously want to win the game, but little small things like Bussey playing well, little small things like some of the blue liners stepping up in the absence of 3 of their best. There are little things going on there. But yes, a loss happened, so you got to treat it as such. That's number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
There was also college football over the weekend. UNC lost in overtime to Virginia. Virginia, a top 25 ranked team. That is a step in the right direction for UNC. They've now had 2 consecutive weeks that are steps in the right direction. But here's the rub of it. I think we have to start talking about, speaking of 2 conversations, I think we have to start talking about UNC with 2 conversations. There is the defense conversation, which is making strides. And there is the offense conversation, which has not figured it out by any stretch of the imagination. Defense took one of the best offenses in the ACC. Virginia was, might still be, but coming into the week, was the leader, around 40 points per game. Right? They were one of the best offenses in the ACC. Took them to 10 points in regulation. That's good defense. Chandler Morris, that's good defense. They got some guys over there on UVA, and UNC was able to scheme them up and played well. UNC's offense has still yet to score more than 18 points versus a Power 4 opponent, and that includes in overtime. There's 2 very different deals there, right? And by the way, the defense was, right there alongside the offense, and not great play early on in the year, and the defense has come out on the other side playing better. The offense, though, isn't taking those same strides. So it's a little bit of a, 2-part conversation.
I'm kind of looking ahead in terms of Carolina. That Stanford game, they're going to be at home. I think they just announced the game time for that. It's going to be at 4:30 next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on the road at Syracuse on Friday night, by the way. Halloween night game at the Dome in Syracuse. Like, there's definitely going to be some crazy stuff going on there. It's just all kind of weird voodoo and stuff. But that Stanford home game, and that to me stands out because it's 4 games from the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to put in a freshman who you want a red shirt and you still want to get him on the field, a la Bryce Baker, that was the first game that you'd probably put him on the field and see, if you see something, then he can ride out the rest of the year and you can see what you have, and maybe your offense makes some strides that way, because obviously it's been a bit of a struggle bus for Gio Lopez and Max Johnson in their time in. So I'm keeping my eye on that. It could depend a lot on what happens with them Friday, but I wouldn't be surprised maybe if they lose and the offense continues to struggle this week, if maybe Bryce Baker will get a look at quarterback in that Stanford game.
For those of you that don't know, Bryce Baker, one of the top in-state recruits last year, or like coming into this year's freshman class, quarterback, has not appeared in a game yet, but could preserve that eligibility, that redshirt year, and play in 4 games. You wouldn't expect any kind of a bowl game, but not that would matter. I believe you can play in bowl games and it doesn't add up. So you're right. That Stanford game could be the one. I think if their defense plays as well against Syracuse as they did against Virginia, they got a shot.
Yeah, especially with the backup quarterback for Syracuse. Yeah. But these next 2 games are probably their best chance of getting an ACC win. If they get past that Stanford game and they haven't won one, I don't know if they're going to finish with an ACC win. And that it just adds to the magnifying glass that's going to be on the Carolina State game there at the end of the year, though.
And Wake's playing really well, but they do have an at Wake, then versus Duke at home, then at State. So they still have all 3 in-state teams. NC State, speaking of quickly, they got smoked by Pitt, and we'll have like an honest conversation about them later. But I think this is one of those, like, you got to put one hand on either side of the bathroom sink and stare at yourself in the mirror and be real honest about what you are. They're a middle-of-the-pack football team, and that's no pun intended, right? They are a middle of the ACC football team.
I think that is generous.
They've shown at different times to be slightly above average and slightly below average. And I don't think I can sit here, as I've done after losses in the past, and talk about their talent in the same way, because it's just not adding up to results.
It's the defense, and that's the same issue that's plagued them since beginning of this year. The only difference was they kind of escaped in spite of that the first few weeks. And Virginia, that was a game where they were lucky Chandler Morris ended up throwing the ball to Kean Sloan for the interception, because Virginia drove down with ease before that on that drive and nearly beat them in week 2. But they'd been winning in spite of the defense. Now it's starting to catch up with them. You can't outshoot all your problems if you can't get a stop, especially on 3rd down. And it's tough to even talk about how talented the offense is and say, like, oh, if they get in a shootout, I like their chances or anything like that, because we've now seen them in those shootouts not be able to execute enough times in a row that I don't know if it's confidence shaken or if they're just being put in a bad situation too many times. But they're 4-4. They're 4-4 and trending in the wrong direction, which is not where you want to be at this time of year. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. A little less optimistic than a couple days last week for the football teams, the basketball teams, the hockey teams that we care about. But, there's usually a light at the end of the tunnel. We'll hope to find it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Canes lose to Dallas, but it wasn't all bad. Speaking of some optimism, I think we can find some coming up next.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, let's paint the scenario here. I need windows, but man, I don't have 3 hours to go through the process of deciding what I need, when I need it. Can you help at the Aluminum Company?
Absolutely. So first of all, when we come out to your house to look at your windows, typical window appointment may last 45 minutes, an hour. We're certainly not going to make you make a 4 or 5 hour commitment to talk about windows. We're there to help.
Serve dinner last time.
Right. Listen, my wife always says, I talk to my wife all the time. We have salespeople, whatever we're doing. And my wife, I tell her all the time, I can't stand salespeople. And she laughs. She's like, you are a salesperson. I'm like, well, the difference is I'm just having a conversation trying to help people get what they want. I'm not there to pressure you. I'm just there to help you get in and out. And it's a pretty quick appointment. It's pretty efficient. So we're there to help you and make it quick.
I can vouch for that. The Aluminum Company of North Carolina, online at aluminumcompany.com.
Hey, it's Amanda here, back again with my friend Coach Pete. How can compound interest, first of all, what is it, and how can it work against us?
Yeah, well, it's a good thing when you're trying to grow money. It's a bad thing when you've already borrowed money, because compound adds interest to the interest you already got. So if you're growing money, that's good. You earn interest this year. Next year, you're going to earn interest on your principal balance plus the interest you already earned. Therefore, it compounds.
That's like a Roth IRA in a good way.
Or any kind of savings account where you're compounding compounding. Make sure it's not simple interest. Simple interest means you're not earning interest but once a year, and it's on the principal only, not the interest that's added to it.
Well, what's bad compound interest?
Bad compounding is when you get like a credit card every single month. The interest you didn't pay, they add interest to that plus the balance. It grows like crazy. You've seen that with any debt you have. It's not a good thing.
No.
So again, turn the tables on the debt world. Call now. We'll put a total plan together for you so you can be in charge of your financial situation.
Call him now, 919-794-7900, or text Amanda to 600-700.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
The Canes bank this one out. Can they get numbers? Aho and Jarvis again. Late in the period. Aho snaps the shot. He scores! Sebastian Aho continues his point streak, and it's 2-0 Carolina.
The Carolina Hurricanes are 6-2 on the year, 4-2 on the road during that 6-game road trip. Lost 2 of their last 3, but with context against 3 of the better teams in the West, while dealing with a rash of injuries that you really wouldn't want to deal with. If you have thoughts on what the Canes are dealing with or how they're dealing with it, we'll want to hear them about an hour from now. 4:15, we'll open up the phones for a Monday Soundoff. So be ready there. We'll take all of your calls, as many as we can, on the Canes, Panthers, any of the college football teams. There was college basketball action over the weekend, exhibition games all over the place. So whatever you want to talk about, we want to hear it. That's at 4:15 for a Monday Soundoff. In the meantime, Canes lost to Dallas. And maybe this is the theme for the day. Everything has two conversations, right? Everything, there's 2 ways to look at it. So we'll just break down every game in 2 different ways. And that was unintentional, but I just find myself saying it over and over again, so we'll run with it. The Canes at Dallas game, to me, there's 2 conversations. One is that individual game, right? How did you lose? What happened? And you're looking at what happened on the ice. Who played well? Who didn't? Who disappeared? Who showed up? Rod Brindamore, after the game, says that the cause for the loss was the special teams. This is in his own words.
Well, it was, one, they tipped in front. We had a little bit of a miscommunication there, and then that was a good play by them. And then the other one, I think he was trying to pass it, and it looked like it went straight in. But that's a 4-on-3 that, those are real tough to kill. So, yeah, we definitely lost the game because of special teams. There's no question about that.
It was a weird game. There were quite a bit of deflections off your own player into your own goal, right? As he brought up, 4-on-3, and then the power play. It's a situation you don't find yourself and hope to not find yourself in often.
4-on-3 that probably should not have been.
There's a lot of referees calls that have over the last handful of games riled up the Canes fan base. I do my best not to dive into that too much, just because I think it comes out in the wash. But if you want to be mad about it, I would be A-okay with it. You can get into the details, right? You can get down into the nitty-gritty. Power play, a bad call, right? Your penalty kill without Slavin. You can get into those, right? You can get into where the heck is Andrei Svechnikov been, right? Because you would think in a game where you have 2 of your forwards out, he's vaulted back up into one of your top lines because of that. You have a blue line that's wounded, leaking oil because of the injuries, and you have a power forward that you want to just go out there with the idea that I don't care how this game goes, I'm leaving my fingerprints all over the result. And I mean, at times he's right in front of the net with the puck presented on a platter, and he couldn't find the back of the net. I made the joke online that at this point it's actually kind of impressive that Svech has no points through this point in the season. Kind of like what you start telling yourself when you go 0 for 10 on bets, like, or 0 for 10 calling heads or tails, and you're like,
it's almost harder to go 0 for
technically,
whatever.
It's the same percentage to go 10 for 10 as it is to go 0 for 10 calling heads or tails. Like the fact that he has been in scoring positions so often and he doesn't even have an assist is like technically
not even like an accidental like secondary where he chipped it into the zone and we ended up scoring a goal.
Technically, that's almost more difficult. I'm joking, but it's real that, especially when dealing with injuries, you need guys like him to make plays. But then for every one of those, you have Aho still on a season-opening point streak. It feels like they've played, I like to use the term, seems like they've lived a life. Seems like they've lived 2 lives this hockey season already, right? They've weathered storms, no pun intended. They've dealt with injuries, they've dealt with hot streaks, they've been the toast of the league, they've been the pity of the league with the injuries. And yet every game, Sebastian Aho is still producing. And in a game like that, scores a goal. And I know Jarvie has been lighting it up, and he's the one kind of taking his star turn, and rightfully so. Amazon helped with that. His personality helps with that. The fact that he's scoring goals more than assisting helps with that. But Aho has been quietly so good. And doing all of the things that you'd expect from Aho, the leadership stuff and checking in with everybody. Overall, thoughts on the road trip, which we can now start doing some kind of debriefing of, because they're back at home tomorrow against Vegas. Here's Rod Brindamore on his overall thoughts on the road trip.
It's tough when you lose a game that was there for us. Probably shouldn't have won the game the other night, so I guess you could say it worked out. But, it's a huge concern with the injuries we have. It's not sustainable, to think that we're going to go out there and win every night when what we have back there. But those guys dug in and did the best they could.
I kind of like the way that hits, right? Probably shouldn't have won the first one, but probably shouldn't have lost this one. It's hockey, right? It comes out in the wash. As long as you continue, it's a big sample size sport. As long as you continue doing the things that you believe in, you should come out on the right side more often than not. We talked about it at the beginning. The good news is some of those reinforcements are on their way. Shane Gostisbehere appears as if he should be available for tomorrow, depending on his comfort level, according to Walt Ruff, team reporter. Pyotr Kochetkov appears as if he's on the mend and at least close to being available on a game night. One of their 2 goalies expected to be depended on coming into the season. Haven't seen him yet this year. And good news on Keandre Miller not being much further away from a return, kind of not expected for tomorrow, but not expected to be a long-term absence.
Yeah, you felt like hopefully it wouldn't be too severe for him. He did end up taking warm-ups in that Colorado game, and that's kind of when things alerted for him, and they figured out something wasn't quite right, and they ended up going with Joel Nystrom for his first NHL action in that one. But it's good to know that hopefully some of these guys are coming back. Still a little concerning to hear Jacob Slavin is still kind of a little further away in terms of coming back, and I still don't think we know exactly what the injury is with him. I know he tweaked something in that Philly game, which was the last home game before they left on the road trip, and mildly concerning that they've been gone now for 2 weeks and he's still not able to practice, so hopefully not crazy severe. That's one of the things, like, obviously we know he's very crucial and a huge part of the offense, or not, no, well, he contributes on offense, but just a huge part of the operation in general. But just because of his play style and the fact that it's not points, it's a little bit more intangibles. It's gap control. It's keeping track of your man. Like, I think the impact of that, it's kind of lost how much they don't have when he's not in the lineup. Like, we don't notice it as much, but they'd be shutting down teams even more if he were still in the lineup. And it's also something they're missing that's maybe even overlooked, even though obviously we know Jacob Slavin is a big contributor.
It's also really hard to know if they're doing an adequate job replacing it. Like, for example, if Seth Jarvis were hurt and other guys picked up and scored at a higher rate, we would be able to, it's Moneyball, right? You need to replace the batting average based on the people, you can just number it. You can use an equation. For Slavin, it's like, I don't know if they're still in position, or I don't know if they're making up all the intangible things that he brings, because there's no number on it. I'm going to lean on, and this is where we put the optimistic spin, a conversation we had on Friday, and Max, you were here for it. If you can survive without Jacob Slavin, I think you come out on the other side, assuming that he is able to come back and be himself, right? You never know with injuries. But if they can give him the appropriate time to be 100%, and I'm not quite worried yet. I'm somebody that played college football, and I know like a tweaked hammy is 3 to 4 weeks. If you get beyond 3 to 4 weeks, I start going, oh, is this a long-term thing? But if it's soft tissue, you want to give a month in a lot of cases. And I don't mind if Slavin misses a month as long as they continue winning enough games to stay in the mix. If you come out on the other side, I think you're better for it. Because you add Slavin to a group that doesn't need Slavin, it becomes gasoline to a fire, right? Then he's just adding up. But if it's a group that needs Slavin, like, desperately, and he's out for an extended period of time, it becomes really worrisome. I think Gostisbehere, if he can come back, will help out a lot. That'll help with special teams. It'll help with rotations. It'll help with a lot of things. He's just a veteran, and I think they need that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the Dean's List coming up next. I think Max is going to like my first one. Max specifically, but also many of you as well. Dean's List coming up next.
Hey, everyone, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan from my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I've been with the program now approaching 3 months, and I've lost 40 pounds, and the best part about the 40 pounds lost, I'm keeping those 40 pounds off. That's actually one of the biggest parts about the Raleigh Weight Loss Center program. It's not just hey, let's get you to lose a bunch of weight real quick and then send you on your way. No, it's here's how we can steadily have you lose weight, get down to a target weight, and then maintain that weight. So many of these fad diets out there, they call them yo-yo diets. You're up and down, and it gets really frustrating for people. The Raleigh Weight Loss Center program, it's all about keeping the weight off. That's why you got to give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone call. Have any of the questions you have answered, and also find out more about the program, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Give them a call, 919-897-7506. Results may vary.
Your fantasy roster is set, the smack talk is heating up, and this season ESPN Bet is giving you more ways to ride with your squad. Introducing the ESPN Bet Fan Center, where you can instantly link and bet on your fantasy teams right in the ESPN Bet app. An enhanced sports betting experience only from ESPN Bet, the sportsbook for sports fans. Make the connection today with ESPN Bet Fan Center and the ESPN Fantasy app. ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Bank of America is a nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
YouTube TV customers, you could lose ESPN and the sports you love, including college football, college game day, Monday Night Football, NBA, college basketball, and more. Take action. Go to keepmynetworks.com to keep ESPN.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly. 99.9 The Fan. Our Monday sound off, as always, about 4:15. That's where we open up the phone lines for you. Call in, talk about whatever you want to call in about. You want to talk a Bryce Young conversation? How much did they miss that guy? You want to talk about a Kane situation? How much did they miss the injured guys? You want to talk about a college basketball situation? How much did they miss the guys in the NBA? There's a lot going on there, and also college football. I was watching the Steelers game. It's hard not to recognize how much NC State misses Peyton Wilson.
Yeah.
Dude is everywhere in the NFL. So I assume he would have covered up some of the flaws we're talking about for NC State's football team if he were still around, but that's not how it works. By the way, I think that's part of the secret sauce of college is eligibility clocks are always ticking, and I get very nervous when people start suing for more eligibility. But for now, we still have it, and I think it's very good. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Monday sound off. We'll open up the phone lines 4:15. So keep your thoughts organized. Write them down if you have to so you don't forget them. In the meantime, it's time for a Dean's List. Let's open up class. Class is in session. It's where we give a few extra accolades, a little extra praise, a little extra spotlight to those that are directly or indirectly related to the college sports world that we hold so near and dear here in the Triangle. I think it's the mecca of college sports here in the Triangle, the epicenter. First, former Wake Forest golfer Mikey Brennan. For those of you that don't pay attention to kind of off-season, off-week PGA Tour events, Mike Brennan, who played at Wake Forest, he won over the weekend at the Bank of Utah Championship, which is a PGA Tour event. It gets crazier the more you think about it. First of all, really good player at Wake Forest. He's tied for third for the number of individual titles in Wake Forest history with Curtis Strange. So Wake Forest, very, very storied golf program, and he's, I wouldn't say like a Mount Rushmore guy, but he's amongst the inner circle of Wake Forest all-time golfers. And the only reason he's not a Mount Rushmore guy is because, they got a decent amount of major winners coming out of Wake Forest, including Arnold Palmer, who could be all four faces on the Wake Forest Mount Rushmore. But anyway, he's on the PGA Tour of Americas or something. He's on a below Korn Ferry level tour, and he goes on a hot streak, wins a couple of events, handful of events, which gets him his Korn Ferry Tour card, which is like the AAA of the PGA. But before he even really plays in the Korn Ferry, he gets a sponsorship invite, a sponsor's invite to the 2025 Bank of Utah Championship, which is just his third PGA event ever, first in years after, I think, the 2023 U.S. Open was the last time he played in a PGA Tour event. And all he does is win, which punches his PGA Tour ticket for a year, a bunch of money, a bunch of FedEx points, levels up his career in a huge way. So the Wake Forest golfer, Michael Brennan, basically skipped AAA and went straight to super solid big leaguer in a weekend. And that's pretty darn cool. So I wanted him on the Dean's list. Max, I thought you'd like that one because you're equally as golf nerdy, if not more than me.
I don't remember the guy's relationship to Michael Brennan, but I used to be a caddy at Congressional outside of D.C.
Look at you.
This was a couple summers ago. I think it was 2023. And
some of my best golf memories are at Congressional. Tigers tournament.
Yeah. It was right when I think it was the U.S. Open at LACC.
That's where he played. That was his last U.S. Open.
Yeah, Michael Brennan was in that, and I was caddying, and I think the guy was his uncle or his cousin.
Nice.
Or his uncle's friend or something, but it was super random because I think I mentioned it or something because I grew up in Winston-Salem. I'm intimately familiar with all kinds of Wake Forest athletes and stuff. I went to all the football, basketball when I was growing up, and I ended up the guy who I was caddying for ended up having a personal relationship with Michael Brennan, which was crazy. It's a small world,
very small world, and it's the PGA Tour winners world is even smaller, and he's a part of that group now. So we'll see how he can, use the next however many exemptions and PGA Tour cards and everything to build his career. Do you have a Dean's list you'd like to throw out before I continue?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give a Dean's list shout out to Cameron Boozer. They had a preseason exhibition at Tennessee yesterday. Duke did. I turned over, I think it was on ESPN or one of the ESPN networks, but I turned it over to the coverage at halftime, and he already had, I think, 13 points and 15 rebounds at halftime. Ended up finishing with, 24 and 23 and
Correct.
6 assists as well. Eye-popping stats. Granted, it's a preseason exhibition, so not that it necessarily matters, but all indications are positive that Cam Boozer is going to be somebody to definitely keep your eye on this season in college basketball, which is just a week away now. So it's coming. So everybody in the Triangle, we're hoping to all wash the taste of these football losses out of our mouths and start taking in some hoops. So it's coming, and Cam Boozer is going to be right at the forefront.
I say this as a positive. Unbelievably polished. He looks like a 7-year NBA veteran, and he's a freshman in college. I was double screening it for a while that came in the football game, and he got anywhere he wanted. Getting to his spots, as they say, he can get to his spots at any point in time. Big, strong dude. And we'll talk about that more later on. And not just that, but Caleb Wilson had a good day for UNC, another incoming freshman 5-star. Paul McNeil, who's one of the holdovers from NC State last year, hit a game winner in their exhibition against South Carolina. So there's some headlines coming out of the exhibition world in college basketball. Dean's List, kind of the previous edition of Cam Boozer. Duke always has one of those guys, it seems. Cooper Flagg had a kind of a slow start, his debut in the NBA, maybe not as clean as he wanted. In his most recent game, 20 points, 20 or more points, and 0 turnovers. As an 18-year-old, you know who else has done that? Just him and Kobe. That's it. Just him and Kobe. Those are the only guys with 20-plus points and 0 turnovers in an NBA game. But the reason why he's on the Dean's List really is because I think I knew this, but I didn't know it until I heard someone say it. Like hadn't thought about it in a while. Cooper Flagg is the youngest player in the entire NBA. Like the youngest player in the entire NBA. He should be, right, quote unquote, should be based on his original enrolling in kindergarten. He should be at Duke this year. He reclassified up to be an early freshman. When he was first being recruited, he was being recruited as a member of this freshman class. So, kind of a college kid, even though he's not. He's making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on top of the millions he made as a college kid. More of the Dean's List. This is going to be a weird one, so stick with me. UNC football. They lost over the weekend in overtime to Virginia. That's not really anything to do with why they're on the Dean's List. Earlier today, news broke that a 4-star cornerback, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing this, Jaziel Hart, a 6', 175-pound defensive back from Roanoke, Virginia, who had decommitted from Penn State, for obvious reasons, right? Coaching changes and dysfunction there. He committed to North Carolina earlier today. And I've noted this a few times. If UNC recruits well right now, that says something about what they're selling, because there is an atmosphere of negativity on the national scale from reports and from sources and from whatever Pablo Torre's talking about in UNC on that particular day. There's quite a bit of negativity, and to get players with options, right? He decommitted from Penn State as a 4-star. Those types of recruits have options. They can go elsewhere. To get those guys to commit, that shows something is working behind the scenes, or at least some message is resonating. So I wanted to give the recruiting staff at UNC a little bit of a hat tip, because we do make fun of UNC when the jokes are funny. We laugh at them. That doesn't mean that we always agree with them, but I do want to always give the credit where it's due as well. And recruiting, it's the lifeblood of any college football program, and they had a big win today. And then lastly, I got to give a shout out to my old head coach at the University of Delaware, K.C. Keeler, who is now the head coach at Temple. He is the winningest active head coach in all of college football. All he needed was Brian Kelly to lose his job, and he slipped right up in there into the number 1 spot.
Winningest active head coach.
Yes. Did I say winningest head coach? I meant winningest active, which hopefully you would have caught that, because Brian Kelly still has the same number of wins. He just is no longer active.
But now he's topping the charts via technicality.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there's 2 ways to win a race. Either you run faster or someone else in front of you runs slower. And he just waited for Brian Kelly to run way slower or get out of the race entirely. So K.C. Keeler is now the winningest active head coach in all of college football. And I do have to emphasize, in all of college football, because almost none of his wins are at the FBS level. They're all at the, I think, Division II and FCS level. But I contributed to a handful of them, so I'm taking credit for it. Credit to you, Coach. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Dean's List coming to a close. Let's dismiss it. And let's get ready for some winners and losers. Who's winning and who's losing the last week of sports? And I'll tell you one way that we're all winners. You listening, you're a winner. Max, me, everyone you know, if they're sports fans, will be a winner when we come back.
It's bow time. Fumbling the food on game day? Rookie move. But you know Bo can make your tailgate a winner, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Because the Carolina Legend has everything you're craving. We're talking crispy, juicy chicken loaded with real Southern flavor. fluffy, scratch-made buttermilk biscuits, and all the fixins to feed your whole crew faster than you can say touchdown. Be the MVP this season and let Bojangles do the cooking. Order your tailgate today. It's Bo time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's Bo time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's Bo time.
Atlantic Spas and Billiards wants to invite you to our newly remodeled showroom on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. More Tilo saunas for both inside and outside on display. Special pricing on hot spring and Caldera hot tubs through the end of October. A larger game table selection and a full dart and billiard cue pro shop. Great selection of Kamado Joe GMG pellet grills on sale now. This new showroom will knock your socks off. Atlantic Spas and Billiards, 8721 Glenwood Avenue and Market Street, Wilmington. AtlanticSBNC.com.
Ghostly greetings to you.
Let's keep Halloween fun and safe for all. Please use rideshare or a designated driver. A DUI will haunt your life. Don't drink and drive. From your spooky friends at 99.9 The Fan and Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
YouTube TV customers, you could lose ESPN and the sports you love, including college football, college game day, Monday Night Football, NBA, college basketball, and more. Take action. Go to keepmynetworks.com to keep ESPN.
Makita's built for the pros who show up early, who don't do shortcuts, only precise cuts. With tools built to last, job after job, year after year. Performance that pays off, because when the job calls for the best, you answer. And when you need the best, you call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, Max, was this song chosen by you, or was this one just next up in the list?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, it came across, I was like, wow, you know what? A lot of people like myself watch their teams lose this weekend. Or maybe you watch multiple of your teams. Or maybe you watch all of your teams lose this weekend.
I bet you there's a decent amount of overlap between, all the teams that we cover, right? UNC football lost, NC State football lost, Panthers lost, Canes lost.
Hornets lost on Saturday, but did win yesterday.
So they bounced back. But there's a world where
UNC basketball against BYU.
There's UNC basketball in an exhibition lost, although I think there was good and bad there. Exhibition may have served its purpose more so than finishing with a win on the scoreboard. Either way, got to keep your head up. Whoa.
That's what I'm saying.
Got to keep your head up. Hey. Lyrics are never as good when they're just read, and I don't have the voice to sing. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This time, right now, by the way, we do have Monday Soundoff coming up at 4:15, so about a half hour. Any of those games we just talked about, if you want to sound off, we want to hear you. 919-860-5326. Not right now, but save the number. 919-860-5326. It's the Heister Automotive Group hotline, and it'll be open for your calls at 4:15. In the meantime, let's get to winners and losers.
This team will never lose again.
Winners and losers. It's more a vibe. It's an aura thing, as the kids tell me. Who won and who lost the last week? I said this going into the break, and I'll give you a winner right out the gate. All sports fans are a winner today. Are you familiar with what today is, Max?
Sports Equinox.
It is the Sports Equinox. there have been just 32 times in history that the Big Four sports leagues all play on the same day in North America. NFL has Monday Night Football tonight, Washington, Kansas City. There are 11 regular season NBA games going on today. There are 2 regular season NHL games going on today. And there is Game 3 of the World Series in Major League Baseball. And just for added kicks and giggles, see what I did there? MLS, 2 playoff games tonight. So that's a lot of sports on one day.
There's kind of another, there's no NFL tomorrow, obviously, but it's kind of a local equinox tomorrow at 6:30. The Canes are playing Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte FC is hosting their first playoff game against NYCFC. And the Hornets are playing, I believe, at 7 o'clock as well. So just everybody playing at the same time. Let's do it.
Just go win them all. Winners and losers. Go be a winner next week. Go win them all. But for sports fans, it's only happened 32 times in history. I would have guessed it's like there's like 3 dates every year that do it, but I guess not.
There's kind of more like, I want to say like the springtime one where instead of an NFL game, there's like the NFL draft, but then it's like playoff hockey, playoff basketball, regular season baseball, and those kind of mixed together.
And I think everybody knows like the day before and after the Major League Baseball All-Star game, there's nothing, which is like the opposite of an equinox. It's like, go outside, touch some grass kind of day. But today you can get 5 televisions and not have enough. You're going to have to go quad box on like 8 televisions to get everything up there and seen. So we're all winners today. Loser, Scott Woodward. If you don't know who Scott Woodward is, he is the LSU athletic director and former Texas A&M athletic director, which means Scott Woodward hired Jimbo Fisher to be the head coach at Texas A&M and hired Brian Kelly to be the head coach at LSU. They are now currently, assuming that Brian Kelly doesn't agree to some huge reduction of his buyout from LSU now that he's been informed he's fired, they are number 1 and number 2 in college football history for largest buyouts when fired by their program. 76.8, not 760. $76.8 million for Jimbo Fisher to go away, and Brian Kelly, remaining on his contract, has $53.8 million guaranteed. That all according to Joe Pompliano, who covers the business of sports. That's not great hiring if you're Scott Woodward. Even if you weren't the one handling the nitty-gritty details, still not the best hiring. Number 1 and number 2, worst ever, maybe. Winner? Brandon Bussey. Bussey, the 27-year-old that made his NHL debut earlier this year in net for the Canes. Just with Pyotr Kochetkov potentially coming back and working his way back from an injury, and obviously Freddie's been playing well, I don't want to forget, I don't want to ignore how he stepped in and played well, right? And, when he got his win in the first in the debut, I thought maybe it was one of those kind of added body experiences. And he hasn't been perfect, but he's played pretty well even in the ensuing games, alternating with Freddie. So, he looked like an NHL goalie. He probably set himself out for many more opportunities down the line in some form or fashion. So he's a winner for me. Do you have any winners and losers you'd like to throw out here, Max, before I jump back in?
I've got a loser, and it's basically just all NFL fans. Yesterday's Sunday slate is, just in terms of entertainment value, one of the worst I think I've ever seen.
Explain.
A ton of, almost completely non-competitive games. The only one-score game, I think, of the entire day.
They're all blowouts. I get what you're saying.
Was between the Jets and the Bengals. The Jets came back to win that one in dramatic fashion. And
nobody watched that game until it was down to the stretch because it was the Jets and the Bengals.
Yes, it was a big fourth-quarter surge by the Jets. But every other game, blowout. We had some bad injuries. Cam Scadaboo, unfortunately, he'll miss the rest of the season. He had a pretty gruesome leg injury. It was just a not very good entertainment value, especially if you're a fan of the Panthers and you had to watch that. You couldn't even turn your attention to watch some other good games because there weren't any.
Yeah, you couldn't convince yourself like, I'll go red zone. Right, I'll go watch whatever's a close game because there weren't any. That's true. I don't even think I realized it until just now that there really weren't any close games outside of that Jets game. It's not great. Although like Green Bay, Pittsburgh at night was at least
It was a
kind of
decent game,
at
but-
least kind of competitive.
At least, but that's so much later than
Yeah.
the rest of the slate too. So if you're like me, or at our house we have our multi-screen setup, and we got Red Zone, and we got
Yep.
the national games. But if you're just looking, you're like, wow, these are all just horrible games, blowout after blowout. Hopefully next week is better. Although the matchups next week do look a little bit more enticing. So hopefully we're in for some more entertainment value next week. But NFL fans, a loser this week for sure.
How about we get to a winner, right? Just to perk ourselves up a little bit. We feel like we've been down. Big picture, Carolina Panthers. Big picture. They got smoked this weekend, don't get me wrong, and it hurts. And I'm sure when we open up the phone lines, there's going to be a lot of negativity. Take yourself back before the season. We are roughly at the halfway point, right? It used to be so kind of cut and dry with 16 games. You get through 8 and you're at the halfway point. Now you got to say just almost to the halfway point. They're on pace for 8 wins. You sign up for that at the beginning of the year. 8 wins for the Carolina Panthers, you absolutely sign up for that. So, yeah, this past weekend was rough. But if that's the price you pay for winning 4 out of 5, if that's the price you pay for winning 3 straight, I think you eat that loss like a champ and you move forward, hoping to hit another win streak that'll make you, forget that James Cook exists. That's the next move. And I'll take it even one step further. After week 2, you probably would have accepted 2-6 at this point in the season. After week 2, when you started 0-2 and there were the ugly turnovers and everything else going on. So big picture, you're ahead of schedule. I don't know anybody that was like dead set on 9 wins for the Carolina Panthers. At this point, you're on track for a little above 8, right? Because you won 4 of your first 8. You got 9 games left. You're
Hopefully right in that range.
If you get to 8 wins and you're not celebrating, you're crazy.
I think that's good progress, and I think that's kind of the trajectory we sort of saw them on heading into this year. Maybe not necessarily a playoff team, but showing signs of development, getting better, improving in the problem areas. Now, the problem areas were big problem areas this week, but overall on the right track. And if not for some injuries in key positions, maybe things would have been different this weekend. But definitely looks positive moving forward.
Winner, or no, let's go to a loser because I just did a winner. Loser, the Falcons. Can we make fun of someone else in the division for a second?
Absolutely.
Just to make yourself feel better, right? It's all relative. Miami 34, Atlanta 10. We know how bad Miami is. We just saw it. They threw all over Atlanta. And here's another one. I don't know if this is 100% true, but I saw it online, so I'm rolling with it. Joe Flacco had almost as many rushing fantasy points as Bijan Robinson. Riddle me that, right? Riddle me that.
Against the same defense, Rico Dowdle ran for like 205 yards.
That is a bad game from the Falcons. The Falcons randomly just drop absolute clunkers. One of them was against the Panthers, but that is a bad loss.
I've got a winner a little bit off the board here.
Let's hear it.
Winner, North Dakota State football, one of the powerhouses of the FCS, as people will know.
The Bison?
Yes, the Bison. They just beat South Dakota State 38-7 this week, and that's a rivalry game. They're laying waste to their schedule this season, basically as good as they've ever been, and people who watch college football know that they've won a ton of titles and been one of the best teams in FCS many years. They have blown out everybody. The closest game they've had, they beat Illinois State by 17 a few weeks ago, and that's been the closest by far. They are rolling through their schedule at a historic pace, and it looks like they're on their way to yet another FCS title. So North Dakota State, the residents of the Fargo Dome, they're going to be a winner for me this week.
Just because I'm an FCS guy and we had to battle with the Dakotas of all kind when I was playing, they crank out NFL players like you have no idea. Grace Zabel was a first-rounder this year, maybe the year before, offensive lineman.
Yeah, recently.
There's Trey Lance. There's Easton Stick. We're just talking quarterbacks now. There's Carson Wentz. Christian Watson, who made a big catch for the Packers last night. They've got Hunter Lepke, the fullback who plays for Dallas and vultures all the touchdowns from Javonte Williams. They got a lot of dudes coming out of that program. They're good. And that's not like good for an FCS team. They're just good. And that's winners and losers. We have some more. Maybe we'll get to them later on. That's winners and losers here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Up next, football at 4. How much did the Carolina Panthers miss Bryce Young? Stick around.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate down to 4.99% APR? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days. Pay off all those high-interest credit cards and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. One call, life changed. There's no wait, no hard credit pull up front. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates are at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto, A+ rated with the BBB and nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 and see how much cash you can get today. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171 on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me. Like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Just some light patchy rain for much of the afternoon, but this evening, starting around the evening commute, the rain starts to pick up in intensity and in coverage. A chilly afternoon for us with a high of only 57. Rain overnight with a low near 50, and then mid-50s tomorrow with a good chance of rain tapering off late in the day.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 336 points to 47,543.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Carolina Panthers lost to Buffalo by a bunch. By a bunch. Enough that it was startling. Enough that it felt like it unraveled some of the progress they had been making. They lost 40-9. And there will be, and there already is, a temptation to just take all of that bad, all of that lack of production, all 31 points of that separation, and just throw it at the feet of Andy Dalton and say, how could you? And I get it. I get it. They missed Bryce Young something serious over the weekend, and I did not expect to be saying that. It's not just that, but it is that, right? As Dave Canales says here, they were beat, meaning Buffalo beat Carolina in every facet of the game.
What they did in the run game today, unbelievable performance by them, by James Cook. He had a fantastic day. and made some big runs. You know, they consistently owned the line of scrimmage and made it challenging for us. We were not able to get our run game going today. Went to the pass game, and that's where the turnovers happened. And pretty clear story right there. We made it really hard on ourselves against a good team, and made it a really challenging situation for us. So would love to see better execution in those things, in those areas, and be able to move on from that.
So here's the deal, everybody. A lot of what Dave Canales just described does fall on the feet of Andy Dalton, and everyone knows the quarterback is either the GOAT or the GOAT. You're either the GOAT, meaning greatest of all time, or you're the scapegoat. And Bryce Young has lived that roller coaster a bunch of times, so it's not being unfair to Andy Dalton to put him in the same judging. For as little as they have asked Bryce to do during this winning streak, the Panthers really missed him. And I was wrong about Andy Dalton's ability to do the basics, to protect the football. Canales told the media that the screen that was picked off, the kind of crazy play where he threw it to a guy that wasn't that far away from him, that was a audible at the line from Andy. Andy checked to that play. Which has opened up the conspiracy theories, and who knows if they're true or not, that Shaq Thompson, a linebacker who had spent a lot of time with the Panthers, was aware of the check, knew what was going on, and passed it along. Whatever the reason being, a screen that runs to crud is very easy to notice if you're the quarterback. And what do? You see every quarterback do it. You throw it right at that running back's feet. You throw it right at that receiver's feet. You throw it right at that tight end's feet. You throw it like nobody can catch it zone. And Andy Dalton has played long enough to know.
Yeah, you got to dirt that ball.
Or you don't check to it unless you're 100% positive it's going to work. Checking the play, especially checking the play, and I know he's a veteran, he's been around, and he's got confidence in his football mind, but checking the play as a backup quarterback is something where you better know. The turnovers, the fumble right out the gate, that's the difference.
Yeah, he just didn't look very sharp. And obviously there was a time where he was a pretty good starting quarterback in the NFL. That time it's evident that time has kind of passed him by. And he was even serviceable the last couple of years, whether he had to come in when Bryce Young was benched last year or 2 years ago he was injured. He had a big passing day against the Seahawks early on in Bryce Young's rookie season. But I don't know how much of that is there anymore. Now, a lot of it could have to do with, you're playing a Buffalo team that has had a good defense, and they've had a couple shortcomings this year, and they probably wanted to get right. And maybe some of it's rust from not having a ton of reps on the field and backing up Bryce Young. But it was clear that he doesn't have the mobility in the pocket or to kind of roll out like Bryce Young does. That's much as going to be obvious from the get-go when you have a 24-year-old, starting quarterback who's known kind of for having that mobility versus an older guy who's in his late 30s, was never known to be any sort of dual threat. But you wish he would have been a little more secure with the ball, made some better decisions, and held on to it. I mean, 2 fumbles. That's some of the stuff you'd see early on in Bryce Young's career. Or
early on this year.
Yeah, even kind of early on when he has what some people call like his state-mandated turnovers early in the game. And then he turns into just a perfect game manager the rest of the game and plays super clean. But Andy Dalton just didn't seem ready. And I don't know, maybe some of that has to do with the way they kind of left an air of mystery as to whether or not he'd actually start this week, even though it kind of seemed like he always was going to. I don't know. But it was disappointing for sure. Like you said, they haven't asked that much out of Bryce over this win streak, so he shouldn't have needed to do all that much, and he just wasn't up to the task.
You weren't going to win that game unless the running game and defense led you. Andy Dalton should have been exceptionally aware of that and known that if we punt, it's a win for me right now on some of the plays. When he tucks it and runs, it has to be 2 hands on the ball. You're not going to pick up a 40-yard gain. No offense, you're Andy Dalton. You're 37 years old. If I were running, I wouldn't be picking it up either. I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying this to be honest, right? You have to protect the football because if things went well, you weren't going to be the one deciding the outcome. And I think Bryce has recognized that, particularly at times after a few early turnovers in a game. He recognizes, all right, I'm not going to be the guy that decides this game. outside of a few, fourth down completions or whatever I need, a third down completion here or there, that's where I can make my impact felt. But, the funny part is, from a volume perspective, Andy Dalton pretty much had a Bryce Young game, right? I went and looked it up. Bryce Young's career averages, 19 completions on 31 attempts for 178 yards, roughly 1.5 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's his career. Andy Dalton versus Buffalo, 16 of 24, 175 yards. So 7 less passes, 3 less completions, 3 less completions, 3 less yards, no touchdowns, and the 1 interception. Add in the fumble, but Bryce has a couple of those as well. It's volume-wise, it is a Bryce Young game. The difference is you can win with that Bryce Young game if you have better situational awareness. And to me, it's such a small thing, but it's the biggest thing when it comes to the games that Bryce Young has a chance to win and then Bryce Young has a chance not to win or doesn't have a chance to win. Did he have any situational awareness this game? If he did, they've been right in it this year and winning games. If he doesn't, they haven't. And you would think Andy Dalton, he wouldn't be as mobile. Maybe his arm isn't as strong anymore. Maybe the quick twitch muscles have faded a bit. But you would think the situational awareness would have been there, and that's where I made the mistake in everything I did talking about the game going in. So they missed Bryce Young a ton. I think that says more about Andy Dalton than about Bryce Young, but they missed him a bunch. And it was obvious from the jump. Now, having said all of that, they didn't help Andy out. Rico Dowdle having 8 carries and Chuba Hubbard having 12 is a crime. Here's Rico's first carries of the game. For 5 yards, for 24 yards, he had a direct snap for -1. The Wildcats kind of wearing on me in the NFL. It doesn't work that often unless it's somebody under center for a tush push. But he had a direct snap, lost a yard, picked up 1 yard, 12 yards, and 6 yards. Out of 8 carries, right? 1, 2, 3, 7 carries. That's 5 great runs. That last carry came with a minute left to go before halftime. He didn't touch the ball again until there were under 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. He didn't touch the ball enough early. He didn't touch the ball enough in the middle. He didn't touch the ball enough late. The only thing he was, right, because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss one, right? I had all these notes scribbled from watching the game. Wanted to make sure I didn't miss one. So I brought up the entire play-by-play and just searched Dowdle. Do you know it's the only thing he has a stat on between 1 minute left in the second quarter and 5 minutes left to go in the game? He made a tackle. That's it. That's the only stat he registered in half a game of football. In between his 2 touches, there was a target for Chuba Hubbard, which was incomplete. There was a 3-yard run, a 2-yard run, a 4-yard run, a 5-yard run, and a 3-yard run. That was the touchdown. It doesn't make sense to me. And yes, the defense didn't hold up their end of the bargain. If you're telling a quarterback the only thing you have to do is keep the train on the tracks, you can't give up all of that, the rushing yards to James Cook. You can't do it. You can't give up all those points. Although you were set up in poor situations a few times, you can't do it. If you're going to look to Andy Dalton and say, just protect the football, then James Cook can't break records for rushing yards against you on 19 carries. Khalil Shakir can't put up, 90 yards and a touchdown. Like that's something they hadn't been doing. I think I saw a stat that they had given up something like 150 yards in the previous 3 games combined. They got 216 to 1 player rushing this game. So you changed the math, right? When Bryce Young has been winning games, here's the math. Here's what you asked him to do. Here's the small amount that you asked him to do. When you give up that many points, when you give up that many yards, you're now changing the math. You have to ask your quarterback to do more, and there was no doubt that Andy Dalton wasn't ready to jump up to that level. And now it becomes an even bigger deal that Bryce was at practice jogging, and he has already been seen doing resistance band work and throwing lightly and taking drops because Green Bay looked good enough to make it another ugly one this week if you don't have your P's and Q's about you. Jordan Love is playing pretty darn good football. And Josh Jacobs is, I think, second in the league in rushing touchdowns. So he can James Cook if he's healthy. Bryce better be ready, and you better play the way you were playing when Bryce was making it work. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have a Monday sound-off coming up next, which means the phone lines are open now for you to sound off on the Panthers, the Canes, UNC, NC State, Duke on a bye, the basketball games, whatever you want to sound off on. Heister Automotive Group hotline is now open for your calls, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Call in now, and if you don't get through right away, sometimes it happens. It's a good thing for the show. It means the lines are full. Keep trying, right? They'll open up as the segment goes along. 919-860-5326. Call in now. That's 5326 is how I ended that. I'll say the number one more time slowly. I feel like I'm ripping through it. 919-860-5326. Monday Sound Off next.
We've got NFL tonight on 99.9 The Fan. Presented by Wake Med.
Showtime, prime time.
Your primetime matchup is a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's Washington and Kansas City.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7.
Here we go.
Kickoff at 8:15.
Put up or shut up time.
On the Triangle's home for the NFL, 99.9 The Fan.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. During hockey season, I'm bouncing from coast to coast like a puck on ice. But when I'm back in town, I always head to Buffalo Brothers for the best wings on the planet. And check this out. Now they have a new flavor, chili lime. You can't beat the great specials at all 5 Triangle locations, like half-price pizzas, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. You can dine in or carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
YouTube TV customers, you could lose ESPN and the sports you love, including college football, college game day, Monday Night Football, NBA, college basketball, and more. Take action. Go to keepmynetworks.com to keep ESPN.
Hey, it's Amanda here, back again with my friend Coach Pete. How can compound interest, first of all, what is it, and how can it work against us?
Yeah, well, it's a good thing when you're trying to grow money. It's a bad thing when you've already borrowed money. So compound adds interest to the interest you already got. So if you're growing money, that's good. You earn interest this year. Next year, you're going to earn interest on your principal balance plus the interest you already earned. Therefore, it compounds.
That's like a Roth IRA in a good way.
Or any kind of savings account where you're compounding. Make sure it's not simple interest. Simple interest means you're not earning interest but once a year, and it's on the principal only, not the interest that's added to it.
Well, what's bad compound interest?
Bad compounding is when you get like a credit card every single month. The interest you didn't pay, they add interest to that plus the balance. It grows like crazy. You've seen that with any debt you have. It's not a good thing.
No.
So again, turn the tables on the debt world. Call now. We'll put a total plan together for you so you can be in charge of your financial situation.
Call him now, 919-794-7900, or text Amanda to 600-700.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The phone lines are open, 919-860-5326. They're open for your calls on whatever you want. We call it a Monday Sound Off. This is where you, the listeners, get to get things off your chest, right? You get to vent if you need to, debate if you need to. Maybe there's something we said that you want to call us out on. We welcome it all. 919-860-5326. We'll start with Dave in Middlesex. Dave in Middlesex wants to sound off on the Panthers. Dave, welcome to the show. The floor is yours.
Oh, yeah, man. I appreciate y'all having me, man. Love the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, I just thought Andy just pretty much, let all the air out, man. From there, I think our defense started off pretty decent. We stopped them, three, and held them within 3 points, to begin with. So I think we started off good. But then as Andy Dalton, kept doing his mistakes and this and that, it just got worse from there, man. That's the way I see it.
I appreciate the call. Call back in any time, and it's a good point. Those first two drives that they were like 10 and 12 play drives for the Bills that both ended in field goals. It was the bend but don't break that you're looking for against, you're not going to completely contain that offense. 6-0. There were opportunities there, right? There were opportunities for Carolina to get going. The thing is, if you're going to be an elite defense, when you're your backup quarterback in, it's not like, oh, we gave you a chance early. You might have to win a game for your team. And they didn't do that, right? And then it got ugly and got carried away pretty darn quickly. But I agree. They made a move early on that made me think, oh, all right, let Andy Dalton settle in. This defense giving him a chance, but not enough of a chance. Alex wants to go ahead and sound off on Nyheim Hines, former NC State running back with the Chargers now. Alex, thank you very much for the call. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, Tim.
Hello. Go ahead.
Hey, buddy. Last week, I recall you giving some flowers to, I believe it was your, forgot what segment it was. I think it was the Dean's List.
Yep.
Where, and I went back, did a little homework, and I was like, I grew up in Garner, so I'm a big Nyheim Hines fan, and I saw he had 2 carries for -1 yard.
Mm-hmm. And what's your point?
Oh, I was just like, what is the qualifications when you get someone flowers?
The qualifications were many thought his career was over due to a jet ski accident, and he worked his way back to being on an NFL field, and then was actually given carries in that situation. So it was more about the stick-to-itiveness, and he also has been returning kicks, has 7 of them for 195 yards. It's not just about the carries. But sometimes just making it out there is the deal, right? I and many thought he might not get that chance again.
Well, I certainly agree with that, Tim, and I thought that was awesome how you gave him his flowers, and he certainly had a pretty hard road ahead of him, and it was pretty awesome seeing him back on the field. So I thought it was pretty awesome.
All right, appreciate the call.
Yes, sir.
And that's why, like, the Dean's List, winners and losers, just to give everybody kind of the down low. I do often say it. I don't know if I said it that day. That it's about more than just winning on the scoreboard, right? It'd be kind of like, I don't know, easy or maybe uninteresting to do, like, hey, they make the Dean's List because they won the game. Here are the stats, right? So we try to go a little bit further outside than that. And Nyheim Hines, it really was about, he had a pretty serious injury on a jet ski, and that one, he overcame it to be back on an NFL field. I don't care if you're running for negative yards. You're on an NFL field. It's working. And he also returned some kicks. Jonathan in Chapel Hill next up here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline on a Monday Soundoff. You can call in as well, 919-860-5326. Jonathan in Chapel Hill wants to sound off on the Canes. Jonathan, welcome to the show. Floor is yours.
Hey, Tim. Hope you had a great weekend. I don't know if you happened to watch the first game, all the first game or not, but I was really struck by how fluid the power play was. And looking back on it, I think what happened was the guys weren't sure of their assignments. And so the result was you had this kind of braided, three-dimensional fluid thing that was really great, and then they became static. So aside from assigning 6 brand new guys to the power play, how do the Canes revive that look, that kind of shimmering where chaos?
So let me just clarify real quick. You're talking about like game 1 against the Devils way back at the beginning of the year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you thought the power play looked better there, and I think they actually had a power play goal in that game, which have come very rare from this point forward.
And Tim, I realize this is an odd analogy, but those ice cream machines that will give you and they'll braid the ice cream, that soft serve braided. That's what that power play looked like, and that's what the power play needs to look like. Because now it's just so stagnant and predictable, and I don't know.
No, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your frustration, Jonathan. So call back in anytime. I want to be clear on this. I do not have any kind of silver bullet, golden elixir that's going to fix the power play for the Carolina Hurricanes. If I did, Rod would have known about it 2 years ago, and he would have fixed it, right? He would have known about it well before I did. But it's another one of these, kind of similar to what he's saying, right? Maybe they were better and fluid because they weren't super aware of their responsibilities, right? When we're being forced to think really outside the box. The one that I've kind of settled on is I think they might need to play against a worse penalty kill in practice. I think playing against the Canes penalty kill in practice, it's like almost pointless to try to get them out of position.
Yeah,
because
they're too good against themselves, so you don't get a good idea of what your power play actually has to be.
It's like, oh, am I going to get, Chatfield out of position? Am I going to get Slavin out of position? And you're just like, no, you're not. Meanwhile, you need to do those things to get guys out of position in games. So that's my own little pet project. I'm thinking whenever they're at home, if you can get a AHL penalty kill up here, just to let them go and work on that. I don't know. Maybe you put a bunch of forwards on the penalty kill and you got your second team power play unit making up a practice penalty kill for the first team power play unit. I don't know. Again, I don't think there's a silver bullet magic answer there. But that's the way I've been thinking about it because, we all got to find a way to get through it. Because tell me, Max, you watch the Canes as much as I do, and I've watched every game. There is a sense of impending doom when they go on the power play.
It's kind of gotten to that point. We still celebrate whenever they draw a penalty and get on the man advantage, and then they get out there and you're like, wow,
it's like my optimism is working against me because I automatically know how bummed I'll be if they get one or no shots on goal, and it's just like a power play. So I'm going into it with this is gonna stink if they don't make it happen, and then when it stinks, I'm like, I knew it. That's what I told you.
It's the weird hesitance to shoot the puck, and believe me, I'm not just some casual guy who's yell and shoot from the crowd when they're passing around the power play. I understand.
Sometimes I turn into that guy on the power play.
But
it's not a pretty part of myself. I'm not proud of it, but I am just sitting there yelling, shoot the puck!
They do love to try to set up just the picture-perfect chance, and they'll wait until they think it's gonna. And that kind of goes against a lot of what they do at 5-on-5 too, where they get pucks to the net and they count on volume. They need to find a way to get the confidence to keep getting those pucks on the net, and then maybe they'll be able to turn these things around. And maybe they can put Nikisha on the power play too. Actually, maybe there is a silver bullet, and that's it. That's what I've been saying. But
Gostisbehere appears like he'll be perhaps back tomorrow. I don't want to say it's reported he will be, but it looks like there's a pretty good chance he'll be back tomorrow. And obviously his offensive skill set tends to quarterback power plays well. Back to the call-in line on a Monday, Soundoff, 919-860-5326. Jesse in Raleigh is up next, wants to sound off on Greg Olsen and the Carolina Panthers. I'm intrigued about what this Soundoff is about. So, Jesse, welcome to the show. Happy to hear from you. Go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. I'm a Panthers guy. I respect Greg Olsen, but I'm not sure if you saw the quote or not. He said something about we'll see short field goals go away with the new kick rules because you'll get 3 points, but then you're going to give the ball back to the other team, and they'll have great field possession. Is that seems absurd to me, right? So NFL, everything matters. If you have an opportunity for a field goal, you kick it, right?
Yes and no. I saw the quote as well, and I thought it was interesting, and here's why. You're not giving up the field goal for nothing, and thank you for the call. You're not giving up the field goal for nothing. You're giving up the field goal for the chance to get 7. And you have to understand that with the new kickoff rules, you're 12 yards away with some of these kickers from being in field goal range?
Yeah, I mean, with Aubrey, it's probably if you get a touchback, you only need 10 yards.
So, even with the lesser of the strong-legged kickers, you're, 1 20-yard completion away from field goal. You're a run and a play-action dump-off to be in field goal range. So I think you're always going to kick the field goal when it's 4th and 12, right? But giving up a field goal on your own, whatever, going in, right, on the positive, the plus, short field part of the field for a chance to pick up a 4th and 6, knowing that if you don't get it, you do have the opposing team kind of pinned down a little bit. You might see it passing on the short field goals. And the thing is, until a bunch of guys do it, a bunch of teams make the decision to do it, we won't have enough statistics to know whether it's the smart move or not, but eventually we will. and then the analytics guys will tell us. Anthony in Raleigh is up next. Heaster Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Anthony, welcome to the show. You want to sound off on Dave Canales, and I want to let you do so go ahead and sound off.
Thank you for taking my call. At first, I am a Dallas Cowboys fan to heart, but being that I live here in North Carolina, I always support the Panthers. Rico Dowdle should have been running that ball more than what he ran yesterday. He should be running more. He has the hot hand. I know Chubbard is back now. I don't have an issue with him, but I think Dowdle is the guy that should be running that ball. I don't believe in that running back by committee. I don't think we should have got rid of Dowdle. The Williams that we have, he's okay. I mean, just because he wears 33 don't make him tornado set. But back to what I was saying, I think Coach Canales, I don't know what it is. Dowdle is your man. He's the hot guy right now. Run him, run him, run him.
All right. I appreciate I appreciate the call. Thank you very much for calling in. By the way, that Williams you got, he's a UNC guy, so he's got connections to the area as well. Javonte Williams is doing well. Here's what I'll say about the Chuba Hubbard thing. I'm fine with the first game he was back. But it was obvious in that game Rico was playing better. Doing it another game makes no sense to me. And then secondly, right, part of the reason, and to give Dave Canales credit for those of you that didn't listen to the press conference this afternoon, it does sound like he's moving towards, you have to understand how good Rico Dowdle's been, and they're going to give him the bulk of the carries and everything else. So it appears as if it's changing. I would say, better late than never, but it's definitely late. If Chuba Hubbard is everything everybody says he is, and by the way, he was quoted today saying, whether it's 70-30 me, 70-30 him, 100 me, it doesn't matter. He's about winning. That's Chuba Hubbard talking. If he truly is like the culture setter that you think he is, when you have a guy that just had 200-plus total yards in back-to-back games, his team sacrifice gene should kick in and say, if you want to ride that hot hand till he cools off, I'm cool with it because I'm team first, team always, team only. Rico Dowdle should have had the ball a ton. Isaiah in Wake Forest up next here on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline, wants to sound off on both the Panthers and the Tar Heels. Isaiah, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. With the Tar Heels, I just got to say one thing, and I'm done with it. I have no idea why they went for that two-point conversion. They were playing well. Their kicker could have hit that field goal, and they could have forced it, and they would have had a better chance than making that. Moving on from that, I'm done with the Tar Heels.
Okay.
I'm ready for basketball. With the Carolina Panthers, I cannot believe that Rico Dowdle only got 12 touches. I know it was a 40-9 game, but still, Rico Dowdle should have gotten 20 carries minimum. Rico Dowdle needs to be the starting back, and Chuba Hubbard needs to be that third down back. He needs to be that guy when Rico gets a big run. Rico is way more explosive, and he has that push that the Panthers need right now that Chuba just doesn't have. And then one point that I noticed and I don't really understand is the Carolina Hurricanes always go on a big road trip during the North Carolina State Fair, and then they schedule concerts at the same time. That just doesn't make sense to me.
He's right.
Taking my call.
He's right.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Max. You want to sound off? You want to vent real quick?
Well, I mean, it's just
it's a traffic flow thing.
The whole thing. So I looked into the history of this last week just because there was crazy traffic. It started with there was the Chris Brown concert at Carter Finley before the State Fair started, but they haven't had Canes game, I think, at all during the State Fair since 2002 because there was a day they had a Canes game, a state football game, and the State Fair all in the same day. And obviously it was a nightmare and created crazy gridlock and traffic like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're already dealing with all this stuff with the State Fair, all the traffic. You're already dealing with renovations in the arena. You got work going on there. And then they bring in concerts at the same time. It's like just at least give the arena staff a little bit of time to chill. I understand that's kind of what the offseason is for, but it seemed interesting to me that of all days, there's no other days you can put a Tate McRae concert, a Billie Eilish concert for people who want to go to the fair and don't want to be stuck in that traffic. It's just interesting.
Now I'll address the rest of the comment there. The Rico Dowdle of it all. By the way, he said 12 touches for Rico Dowdle. That's actually 12 for Chuba. There's only 8 for Rico Dowdle, so it's by a third worse than you thought, caller. I have a million stats that we could point to for why Rico should get the ball. Here's one. Chuba Hubbard had 12 carries. The longest run he had was 5 yards. Rico Dowdle had 8 carries. He had at least 5 yards on 5 of them. So 5 of his 8 carries were as good, better, or significantly better than the most productive run Chuba Hubbard had. Yet somehow Chuba Hubbard had 4 more carries than Rico Dowdle. It just doesn't make sense. And one thing I will fight back on, I always love a coach going for 2 in the win. Especially a team that has reason to have their confidence shaken like UNC does throughout the year. Go for it. Say you believe in them. Look them in the eyes and say, we're going for it and we're going to score. It didn't work, but as a former player, I will never get mad about that because I was begging for it every single time we had a 2-point conversion opportunity or a go for it on 4th down opportunity, and you feel empowered every time your coach gives you that chance. Steve in Oak Island up next here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline wants to sound off on Dave Canales, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Steve, welcome to the show. The floor is yours. Go ahead and take it away and sound off.
Hey guys, thanks for taking the call.
Mm-hmm.
This is more an anti-Dave Canales call than it is a Rico Dowdle or Chuba Hubbard call.
Okay.
So he said in his press conference that the run game wasn't going, so we had to go to the pass game. Okay, in the first drive, Hubbard ran twice, 1 for 3, 1 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
In the second drive, Dowdle rushed 3 times for 5, 5, and 20, and they still weren't far behind. In the last drive of the first half, Dowdle rushed for 12 and 6, and they were only down 19-3. So is anyone going to call out his BS, kind of like that one reporter did to Bill Belichick the other day? Someone needs to stand up and say, hey, Dave, the run game actually wasn't doing all right, even with Hubbard in there. What's the story? Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you. Here's the confusing part about it, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I tend to agree with you. I think Rico would have been the answer there, especially keeping that Bills offense off the field would have been important. But the reason it's confusing to me is we have evidence not long ago of them being down 17-0 to Miami, and they stayed committed to the run. Now, part of that I do think was because they had lost all faith in Bryce from a fumble and an interception early in the game. But I don't see why you would have more confidence in Andy Dalton with the way he was playing. I think that's the blueprint for them when they fall behind is we have to try to just run until there's absolutely no option. And they didn't get there with Miami, right? Obviously, it became an option to continue running, and they kept doing it. And for whatever reason, they didn't stay dedicated, stay committed to it against Buffalo. Maybe they gave more respect to Josh Allen than they did Tua, which would make sense. But you're not going to find me explaining away why the run game didn't get going the way it should, because I think it did when Rico was running. Cooper in Raleigh wants to sound off on the Canes power play. I'm sure this is more of a venting session than a sound off, but either way, Cooper, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, man, I appreciate you taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not so much a venting session. I noticed a lot more that when we're on the power play and have a defenseman and they kind of act as more the ringleader, we tend to do a little bit better. Going back to like TDA and even Ghosty, he ringleads, and I think it's because they have that screw it mentality. They're the ones that break up the passing game and just go for the shot, and then we rush the net and put it in. I think when you have all these forwards out there, they're thinking too much about where to put a puck to set up this upper 90 or 5 hole. But, man, these defensive guys, they just say, hey, you know what? We're snipers too. They throw it on net. You rush the net. And I think that's what makes for better goals and a better power play. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've called for more shots on goal. I'm not, and you're not the first to make that kind of request. I don't know if it's a defenseman thing. I don't know why you couldn't tell a forward just like, hey, be super aggressive and go for it. Obviously, Brent Burns has quarterbacked some power plays. He's never been afraid to fire from deep. I will piggyback off of one of Max's requests, and it's I don't know if it's been on air as much as it's been off air with our conversations because, you may not believe it, but on air for 3 hours a day, we talk about the Canes and the Panthers and the college teams, and then off air, we also do it. Maybe it's a Alexander Nikishin thing where if you're going to have somebody quarterbacking the power play that is a blue liner that isn't afraid to shoot, it might be the guy who just showed up and hasn't been fully caned out yet.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, like, they've already had to throw in, like, Mike Riley on power plays and stuff already, so I figure what's the harm, especially when they're as injured as they are. Now, if you have someone like Ghost who's available or Sean Walker who you had on your PP2 kind of just to start the year, that's fine. But in terms of, like, I don't think a guy like a Mike Riley needs to be getting those looks over Nikishin is really all I'm saying. Like, I'm not demanding that Nikishin needs to be on it immediately because I know they want to ease him into it with everything in his transition to North America, but it just doesn't make sense to me to put, like, or if they had to put, like, Legault out there when they were all injured in Colorado. Like, I think I'd rather just see Nikishin and just let him rip those 100-mile-an-hour slap shots.
I'd also say this. I think there's every kind of personality at most positions in the NHL. So saying, like, oh, they need a blue liner who's not afraid to shoot. I've seen defensemen that are not afraid to shoot, but don't shoot often. I've also seen forwards that have never seen a shot that they don't love to take. So it's more about finding that personality to stir the drink rather than that position to stir the drink, at least in my opinion. Scott in Fayetteville up next. We're going to have to cruise through a couple of these here to get as many as we can in before the break here. Scott in Fayetteville wants to sound off on Andy Dalton. Scott, the floor is yours.
Hey, Tim, thanks for taking the call. You're a quarterback. I'm wondering, did it seem slow to you when Andy Dalton was moving in the pocket? It felt like there were times the offensive line let him down, but there were other times where he had time and he could have at least escaped, and it just seemed like he just didn't have the legs for it. What's your take on that?
First of all, thank you for the call. I will correct you on one thing. I used to be a quarterback, and maybe that's the same thing about Andy Dalton. Not what I wasn't trying to make fun of Andy. I'm sure he's going through it right now. And as a quarterback that has struggled on the field, the day and the couple of days after where you're grinding that film absolutely stink. So shout out to Andy for taking his medicine, I'm sure, in the film room today. I don't think he's any slower than I remember last year, the year before, right? He's been effective in the last 5 years, and I don't think he lost 3 steps since then. I think he had a bit of the quicksand thing going on, right? One thing didn't go well, led to another thing didn't go well, right? You have a couple of turnovers, a fumble, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, don't turn it over, and that hesitation leads to a sack because, when you maybe would have cut it loose a half a beat earlier, you were double checking to make sure you weren't going to have another turnover, and you got hit. I think you can look slow for a bunch of different reasons, and it's not always that you are slow. Sometimes it's you're hesitant for any number of reasons. But it didn't go well for Andy for sure. Tom and Creedmoor sounding off on NC State. Tom, little bit of pace here if we can, a little bit of urgency because we want to get 2 more calls in.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was very impressed with the basketball team yesterday. I think we're gonna have a good season this year.
Do you want to give a detail or two about why you were impressed? Because there's a few different options that you could have been.
Well, I don't know what. The defense looked a whole lot. I mean, defense looked a whole lot better yesterday on the basketball team, and then I think we got some good shooting guards that can shoot this year.
All right, I appreciate it. I'll build off of what you said quickly here, but we got to let you go just because of timing. I love that you shouted out the defense, not because the game was an obvious one, right? South Carolina took them down to the wire, but Will Wade has a type. And they are super wingspan-y 3-and-D guys. So you're going to see a lot of long arms, getting deflections, getting in passing lanes. And that's kind of the best version of what Will Wade has for their defense at State. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. Stephen and Selma, you are up last on a Heister Automotive Group hotline Monday Soundoff. So take us home with a bang. Go ahead and sound off.
I appreciate it, Tim. Just quick plug as an ECU alum, some love for Trey Savage from Friday night getting the start on the big stage to get the World Series going for Toronto. So a little shaky at first, but, glad that I think it was no decision for him. But how cool is that for him to have the year he's having and to be able to have the chance to, be the opening pitcher for the World Series. So thanks again for taking my call.
Thank you. And I will build off of that as well. Trey Savage, 4 innings. He is not even a rookie. He is like a quarter of a rookie. Made his debut seemingly a week ago. I know it was a couple of months ago, but just his Major League Baseball debut was not that long ago. Started game 1 of the World Series. 18 months. 18 months ago, he was pitching for ECU in Greenville. 18 months later, he's pitching game 1 of the World Series, steps onto the mound, and what does he do with the first batter? Who, by the way, is Shohei Ohtani. Strike! He struck out Shohei Ohtani to get it started. 3 up, 3 down in the opener. Did give up 2 earned runs. 3 up, 3 down in the 4th. And then they pulled them, obviously, as we don't want this rookie to see that lineup for a 3rd time. And all the analytics will tell you good decision. They didn't win the game, I know, but there probably is something to do with, our rookie made the Dodgers lineup look not invincible. And then they beat him in game 2. So Trey Savage, absolute monster. Don't get it twisted. Absolute monster. And we have been updating everybody on kind of his play for a while now. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to everybody that called in there and participates in the show. We always appreciate it. We have some college football reactions. We had some there in the Soundoff, but we'll have more coming up. But first, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Gordon Miller and Miller Lending have been in the area for decades, and they've been offering something called a no closing cost loan for decades. Here's the deal, everybody. If your rate starts with a 7, you need to go ahead and call up Miller Lending right now, because they may be able to get you a lower monthly payment. That's right, lower monthly payment with no cost out of your pocket. Right? Oh, I don't want to refinance now because I'd have to come up with all this money for closing costs and fees. And then what if it keeps dropping and they drop, 2 more points in the next year? I don't want to have to pay all that money again. Well, what if we offered you, meaning Miller Lending offered you, a no-cost loan? No costs, no fees, no closing costs. What does that open up for you? Well, get a refi now, get that lower monthly payment, and if in the next year it drops another 2 points, don't get mad or feel like you missed out or you wasted money. Get excited because you'll just refinance again with no cost, no fees out of your pocket. Again, that's how it goes. That's how it works at Miller Lending. If you want to learn more, take down this number, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, reactions to UNC losing in overtime to a ranked opponent and NC State losing in regulation by a bunch to Pitt. Stick around.
The road to college football's national championship runs through 99.9 The Fan. The ACC, the SEC, the biggest matchups will be found here.
KC Concepcion, 25-15 down the right sideline, touchdown. Texas A&M, punt return for touchdown for Concepcion.
College football on The Fan is powered by Wake Med, Roofworks, and Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac GMC in Sanford.
It's bow time. Fumbling the food on game day? Rookie move. But you know Bo can make your tailgate a winner, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Because the Carolina Legend has everything you're craving. We're talking crispy, juicy chicken loaded with real Southern flavor, fluffy, scratch-made buttermilk biscuits, and all the fixins to feed your whole crew faster than you can say touchdown. Be the MVP this season and let Bojangles do the cooking. Order your tailgate today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's Bo time.
YouTube TV customers, you could lose ESPN and the sports you love, including college football, college game day, Monday Night Football, NBA, college basketball, and more. Take action. Go to keepmynetworks.com to keep ESPN.
Hey, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. In 3 months, I've lost 40 pounds. That's right, 40 pounds in 3 months thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center and their program. And last week, I had a follow-up visit with them to discuss my progress. And one of the things that we discussed was not only how to maintain the weight that I've lost, but if I wanted to lose a few more pounds in a healthy, progressive way, this is the plan to follow. These are the steps that you need to take. And that's something that I appreciated about the program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center is the fact that not only is there a plan for you to lose weight, but also to maintain weight, but doing it in a healthy way and losing it at a rate that is healthy for your body. Give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone call. That's right, a free 15-minute phone call. Figure out if the program is right for you. I'm living, breathing, walking proof that it can work. 919-897-7506 or RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. UNC lost over the weekend. NC State lost over the weekend. We're talking college football. There is two very different teams here, okay? NC State is I would say, dealing with the issues that come with having a coach that you've had for well over a decade. And because of that, when things happen over and over again, there is a difficult like a logic hump to get over on expecting it to be different. Right? Expecting things to change when you've seen it for, a long time. And you've seen it happen over and over again. And you feel like you're watching deja vu games all over again. And that there was some of that going on with NC State getting smoked by Pitt. And the reasons that for another team might be reasons for optimism moving forward, right? Hollywood Smothers' talent, some of the pass-catching talent, a quarterback that you think, if they put it together, can be a future pro. It doesn't hit the same because you've seen Dave Doran have future pros at quarterback a decent amount of times. I'm not saying they're all starters, but the Devin Learys, the Ryan Finleys, the Jacoby Brissetts, like these guys have been around. And to see this happen, it's like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to get my hopes up again. UNC has the exact opposite problem. Nobody knows if Bill Belichick can do it. Right? You're pretty confident he could win in the NFL because we've seen him hold 6 Super Bowl trophies as a head coach. But until the defense started playing better the last 2 weeks at Cal and then the loss in overtime to Virginia, we hadn't really seen positive steps in any direction. So you have to ask yourself if UNC is, as a team, stepping in the right direction. Is it possible that these are the first baby steps towards big improvements, or is it almost by default that a Belichick defense will put together a couple of game plans that opposing teams struggle with, but the offense isn't going to get it done, the culture isn't going to get it done, and this offseason there's going to be a lot of the same issues that we've seen? And you can't say anything with any kind of definitive answer because you don't know, because everybody on that coaching staff is pretty much brand new to college outside of Freddie Kitchens, who was a tight ends coach last year, and Steve Belichick, who has 1 year as a defensive coordinator. It's two very different problems that lead you to the same exact place, which is every time you step out there, your fans are going, show me something. Give me a reason to be optimistic. And don't show me the same reasons to be optimistic that you've been showing me that haven't led to success. Against Pitt, Hollywood Smothers had a pretty big play pretty much right out the gate. And you're like, all right, Hollywood Smothers, there's our guy. That's, if you're an NC State fan, there's our beacon of hope. You got one of the best running backs in the league, statistically wildly impressive. All right. And he's working, and he's making it happen. He's having a good day. And then you look at the end of the game, and the score is 53-34, and you lost. And he has 8 carries for 64 yards. Sorry, 8 carries for 86 yards. He had a 65-yard touchdown run. And right there, it's like, For a lot of reasons, you start to get less excited about, they can build this entire offense off of Hollywood Smothers. Because, Hollywood Smothers has been Hollywood Smothers the entire season. And then you look at the defense and you go, 53?
Yeah. And we talked about this on Friday as well. You were talking about them needing to find the right balance on offense. And I was like, the key to them, if they were going to compete in this game, like, the defense is going to have to be way better. And again, and it wasn't just defense, just based on the way it started. When you go 3 and out off the jump, you receive the ball to start the game, and all of a sudden, Pitt has the ball in your territory a minute and a half into the game. That's an issue. And then obviously they go down and score and never really looked back, although NC State kind of kept it close for a good bit of the first half. But
look at the third quarter. The third quarter, I'm going to read you the number of plays per drive. It was a 10-point game at half. 10 points is obviously not ideal, but you're in the halftime locker room thinking it's attainable, right? You're right there. You're excited. Field goal for Pitt. They have a 10-play drive. 3 and out, 6 yards for State. There's the long touchdown catch, the 184-yarder long touchdown for Pitt, 1 play. 3 and out fumble, 7-play field goal for Pitt, 4 plays, lost it on downs, 5 plays for field goal for Pitt, 4 plays, lose it on downs. That's like the offense is doing absolutely nothing to help the defense, and the defense is the side that needs help. I've talked about this all year for NC State. We were aware that their defense was going to be a work in progress. But I thought, for a whole multitude of reasons, namely being talent offensively, that offense could help out the defense. Didn't happen. And when you put a defense that I already thought was going to struggle in a boatload of whatever the opposite of advantageous, disadvantageous situations, they're going to give up a bunch of yards and points. And you're going to make Mason Heinschel look like Joe Montana. It's I hate the term complementary football, because another way to describe complementary football is just good football. Or, the offense is playing well, so the defense is playing well. That's not complementary. That's just good football. But it's super disjointed. And if the offense is your bread and butter because of all the talent, C.J. Bailey, like I said, I think he's a future pro if he puts it all together. Some of those, Justin Joly, granted he had his Greg Jennings moment of he broke his leg, and he ran for the touchdown anyway. When he was good, he was really good. When he's healthy, he's really good. Hollywood Smothers, really good. Some of those wide receivers, especially when you add up all their talent, really good. But if you're not going to be prepared to score with a team like Pitt, and you're going to put your defense in bad situations, that's whatever the opposite of complementary football is. And then UNC, you could argue, is moving towards the other side, meaning the defense is playing better, but the offense is they're not taking advantage of what the defense is giving you. I can't tell you how awkward it is, and I've been here. Maybe not this low. At least not that I can remember vividly, and I think I would remember this. Maybe as a backup. I can't tell you how awkward it is when you know you only had to score 12 points to win a game, and you're in the locker room and you lost. right? When all you had to do was put 4 field goal drives together during regulation and you would have won the game, and then you're in the locker room and the defense is taking their tape off and you're taking your tape off and you're just sitting there silently like an icy kitchen in a relationship that's falling apart. You're not saying anything, but you both know it ain't going well. Neither team is playing well enough on both sides of the ball, even if they do some good things on one side of the ball to be anything to write home about. And that's a bummer because I like all the good football happening in our area. Wake, meanwhile, is putting it all together. We'll talk about that probably tomorrow.
Well, putting it all together that's one way to describe the game. They really, really wanted to lose, and they somehow still won.
If the refs made a decent call against Georgia Tech, they're 6-1. That's putting it together. They're probably ranked.
If say they should have won that game, they should not have won.
Because of refs calls or just because of bad play?
Because of fumbling the ball twice on the 5-yard line.
That is part of football. Refs calls are outside of what should be deciding a game. You could blame SMU, but if your competitor plays bad, that's a way to win the game. They should be. Like I said, they should be 6-1 and probably ranked. But neither here nor there because they're not. They're 5-2 and in the mix in the ACC somehow. Don't know how that happens. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's get to the starting 5 when we come back, including some really, really big exhibition basketball games. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
For a team proud to pound the rock, there's a weird reluctance within the Carolina Panthers coaching staff to do so with the guy who we know can tote the mail in Rico Dowdle. Loyalty sometimes blinds you to the obvious. Just ride the hot hand. Dowdle's been your guy for a few weeks. Time to take those dark sunglasses off and see what he can really do.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Welcome home from Baker Home Exteriors. Your home is not just where you live, it's where life happens. We're proud to continue Baker Roofing's century-long legacy of excellence, bringing that same dedication to your home. Whether it's roofing, siding, gutters, or more, we transform houses into the homes you've always dreamed of. Your home deserves nothing less. Visit BakerHomeExteriors.com and let's build something beautiful together. That's BakerHomeExteriors.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Lenovo is celebrating 20 years in the Triangle. While a lot has changed, our passion for people and technology hasn't. We're excited for what the next 20 years will bring as we continue to deliver cutting-edge solutions that drive progress, power, and smarter technology for all.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. It's a WRAL weather alert day due to impacts to the evening commute. Rain is likely and will continue into tonight. It'll be another soggy start to the day Tuesday, chilly and blustery with a high of just 52 degrees.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcomb&company.com BetOnline.com. 5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones up 337 points to 47,544.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I have yet to say this today, and you all need to know. Download the app, 99.9 The Fan. Anywhere apps can be found. If you're on iPhone, that'd be the App Store, Android, Google Play Store. When you're there, download the 99.9 The Fan app. Please give us a 5-star rating. That's just a personal favor, and I think it earns it. I think the app is a 5-star app, so if you agree, we'd love to hear it. And then also, once you download the app, which you can have live stream coverage of everything we have here on air, Canes games, you can find our podcast. Max has a hockey article blog that he writes every single week. There's other things you can read as well, but I'm just hyping up Max because he's here producing the show. There's things you can win, app-only giveaways, and a bunch of cool stuff there. You can divide up the content by team, by show, by whole. It's a really cool app. The only thing I ask is that once you download it, register, right? There's a little thing you can make a profile, give us your name, your birthday, and give us a email that you actually check, because that's how we give things away. If we're doing an app-only giveaway, we'll email you saying you're a winner. So if you give us some kind of junk mail, this is where I send all the free trial emails or whatever email, you won't know if you win. And we do give away some cool stuff. We've given away concert tickets, college football tickets, Canes tickets, signed jersey from a Carolina Panther. We've done a bunch of really cool stuff. So if you want to win, make sure you give that real email address when you download the app. Now, having said that, let's jump into the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Into the right corner, James. He's wide open, and he hits a 3.
So here's the deal, everybody. I am going to do my best to walk both sides of the line, straddle the fence, if you will. College basketball exhibitions don't matter. They don't, right? Also, I do think there's little things that might matter. So I'm a hypocrite in this segment, and I'm okay with it. For example, Duke went on the road to Tennessee and won. I don't think it matters that they won, right? I think it matters that they now have their routine for away games. I think it matters that they've played in a raucous away environment. I think they've played against top-level talent that wears a different colored jersey. I don't think the game matters, but I do think we can, through their exhibition schedule, UCF and now Tennessee, we can be pretty confident that Cameron Boozer is going to be one of the best players in the country. 24 points, 23 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal with just 1 turnover and 1 foul in 38 minutes for Cameron Boozer against Tennessee. It's about as good as you could hope for. Physically, he looks like a monster, strength-wise, right? And I don't want to say I was worried, but if you look at the guys at the top of the recruiting rankings, Dibansa, Nate Ament, who I believe actually plays for Tennessee, a few of these other guys, they were the more springy athletes. They're the ones winning dunk contests. Meanwhile, Cameron Boozer, a little bit more maybe ground-bound. Not saying he doesn't dunk on people, and he has in both exhibition games, but I don't want to say worried, but that was the question. Well, it turns out strength is just as important as explosiveness, and he's looked really strong. That's how you get 23 rebounds. Caleb Wilson for UNC. They went to BYU. I love that for UNC. BYU is the 8th team in the country according to the preseason AP poll. They have Dibansa, who I mentioned. Many have as the number 1 NBA draft pick in the upcoming draft class. So it was a real challenge, and UNC lost. But Caleb Wilson, their own 5-star, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, 9 of 17 from the field, and looked the part even more on the defensive end. So again, do I care if they lost? No. Do I love that they went on the road to a elite opponent and played and handled that? I do. And do I love even more that Caleb Wilson might be everything that you expect him to be? Absolutely. And then NC State. They had South Carolina over the weekend. Not as elite an opponent, but they got a real dose of clutch minutes. And I thought that it was fascinating, right? Darian Williams, ACC preseason player of the year, had a good, not great game. A few other guys they brought in. They had the McNeese State guys that Will Wade brought with him from McNeese State. And with the game on the line, closing seconds, needing a bucket to win, who'd they draw the play up for? Paul McNeil, a guy who had been on NC State last year and stuck around, and he knocked down the shot.
I will say, in regards to draw the play up for him, it did look a lot like some classic Kevin Keats offense. Dribble, 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 top of the key, ball screen, nothing's working, throw it up. And he did make it, which is a positive, but wasn't and this is only based off of like the fan angle highlights, because this game wasn't streaming video anywhere. It was only on the Wolfpack Sports Radio Network. But
you know what they say about the NBA?
It's a lot of iso ball.
It's a make-miss league. If you make it, it's a great call. If you miss it, it's a horrendous call.
Yeah, and we're hearing a lot in this preseason about how Paul McNeil could be some kind of sniper, someone really to look out for this year. So it's exciting stuff for NC State, despite the fact that they did trail most of the game against a team that was, I'm pretty sure, last place in the SEC last year.
I just love the idea of it being the guy that stuck around, getting the shot, rather than any of these new hot shot, high-priced, wasn't the 5-star Matt Abel, it wasn't Darian Williams.
It was the holdover Paul McNeil, P2.
It was P2, exactly.
And I've been hearing all the hype about him, John Rothstein and everybody. So we'll see if he carries that over as some kind of deep threat headed into the season.
Can't have too much shooting. With that being said, what number was that? 5? Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. All together.
Lopez in the pistol with Hood behind him. He will hand to him. Hood right side, slithers through and powers home. Touchdown, Carolina. What a start for Belichick in the heel.
UNC lost in overtime to Virginia, which of their FBS games, and especially, I shouldn't say FBS because they beat Charlotte, of their power conference games, this is as good as it gets, right? They took a ranked opponent to overtime. Defense played very well. UVA came in with one of the highest scoring offenses in the country and the ACC. And Bill Belichick's UNC defense bottled them up. Bill Belichick was asked how the defense limited UVA's offense. This is what Belichick had to say.
Stop the run, get them the long yardage. Did a pretty good job of keeping them in the pocket. Thought we rushed well. We could put a sharp inside. I don't know about all the other points and yards and everything else you're talking about. I didn't see it today, but, I guess I came against somebody else.
Bill Belichick, he's settling in a little bit in that, his presser after the game was vintage Belichick. They asked him why did he go for 2, which is a controversial call, right? That's kind of make-miss league, right? You score... You can go for 2 to win it. You can kick the extra point to go to another overtime. They went for 2, didn't get it. That's a make-miss league, right? If it works, you're a genius. If it doesn't, why'd you do that? He was asked why go for 2. His response was trying to win the game.
Oh, we have that clip as well.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, trying to win the game.
And just, I guess, why that versus trying to, extend?
Just trying to win the game.
He was asked who the first option on the final play was. He said whoever's open. That's Belichick from 2010. That's peak Belichick at the podium. So maybe he's coming into his own as a college coach. Realizing which parts to keep and which parts not to keep from his NFL career. I can keep the grumbling. Maybe I shouldn't keep just about anything else. I love that they went for it. To break down that call. I love that you go for 2. I love that you're up against a ranked opponent and you tried to seize the animal by the throat. I wish it would have been something more straightforward. I'm not saying UNC has been unbelievable at anything offensively, but their pass game has left a lot to be desired darn near the entire season.
And him pretty much rolling right, too, as a left-handed quarterback and also throwing it short of the goal line. I don't know if I love that play. I do agree. I like the idea of going for the win, but maybe something just like a quick crosser or something else kind of moving north-south rather than kind of out towards the boundary.
I struggle with, because I saw quite a few people upset that they rolled them offhand. I struggle with that for this reason. As a former quarterback, I hated rolling out in that situation because I felt like it took away half the field, right? Give me all the options, right? Give me the entire field to work with. It's already tight down in the red zone. Even if it's just panic, give me somebody on the backside in case pressure comes front side and I have to escape or something. Give me the full field. So when you roll, you limit that. The only reason I can think about rolling is if you're looking for like a catch them off guard thing. And I guess if you're catching them off guard, rolling offhand would be the real turn breaker or tendency breaker. It didn't work, so it's going to look bad. I would have liked something running downhill. That's kind of the way I looked at it, but either way, I like going for it. And it's their best game against a power conference opponent, so steps in the right direction. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Smothers now runs up into a tackle, bounces off of it, sprints over the 40. Watch out, breaks free 30, pulls away 20, and he's gone. Hollywood Smothers inside the 10, and it is a 59-yard Hollywood Smothers rip on his 3rd touch of the ball game.
And by the end of it, Hollywood Smothers had just about that same amount of yards. NC State did not beat Pitt. Matter of fact, they lost by darn near 20. 53-34 at Pitt. You know, we had already done the math, and it kind of felt must-win-ish. Now you either have to beat a top 10 team in the country in Georgia Tech or Miami, or beat both Florida State and North Carolina to be bowl eligible. And bowl eligible as a bare minimum based on where expectations had risen, it's gonna feel like a disappointment. It is. And I said this earlier today, and I'll say it again for those of you that are just tuning in more recently. This screams to me like the metaphor of you got to put one hand on either side of the bathroom sink and look in the mirror deep in your own eyes and be honest with yourself. State is not an above-average ACC team. They are when playing well, can keep up with some squads, but their defense is holding them back, and their offense isn't good enough to make up the difference, despite the fact that they have talent. And that's where I probably have to change the way we talk about NC State. Because it's so often when we talk about NC State, it comes with the caveat that they have all of this talent at the skill positions on offense, and they have all this ability. But, if it's not adding up to wins, or it's not even adding up to being close against teams of any kind of significance, what is that talent getting you? What is it getting you? And there's, look at the roster, right? The defense has holes, and the offensive line has some holes. There's less and less reasons for that or excuses for that, because you can hit the transfer portal. Like, you looked at the talent at those positions preseason and said that's good enough, because if you didn't, you would have gone and hit the transfer portal. Right? There was a point in time in college football where, you miss on 2 recruits, 2 guys get hurt, and you're like, guess what? We don't have any good tight ends, right? Like, it is what it is. And that was kind of how it was. But every team had hey, we missed on a couple of cornerback recruits, and, a guy got hurt, and one guy, decided he didn't love the game anymore. And now we're playing 2 true freshmen. And that's just, every team had that. With the transfer portal, if there's glaring weaknesses on your roster, it's like, why didn't you know? Why didn't you solve it? And that kind of strikes there. And then on top of that, there's going to be a war of words. Dave Doran, head coach of NC State, after the game, talked about their pass coverage and whose responsibility is what. Here's part of that post-game presser.
Disappointing, because that wasn't what we practiced. We worked a lot on some of those concepts and just didn't get executed. The players got to do what they're coached to do. It's 3rd and 18, and one of our linebackers jumps an underneath route and voids his zone that he's supposed to be sitting in where they throw the football. And that's unacceptable. That's coached. And so at some point in time, as a guy on the field, you got to do what you're coached to do in that situation. And it's a great kid. I love him to death. But that's bad football. It's 3rd and 18. You don't jump an underneath route when you're playing zone defense. That's just an example, right? And that's not where loose coverage bothers me, 3rd and 18, because it's down the field routes, right? It's when you're playing on 2nd and 5 and you're giving up stuff like that. You know, that's you got to play tighter. And you saw it in the second half, but we got a lot of work to do. You know, disappointed. We came out of the bye week, and I thought we'd play a lot better than we did tonight.
All right, so here's the deal, everybody. Coaching through the media is a thing. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he thinks that player and the secondary and the pass coverage needs a bit of a kick in the pants metaphor. Because if not, then that comes across as a little tossing under the bus. And Dave Doran has been very good at, I need to coach better. It starts with me, right? He said that all a bunch. But when you start to do what you just heard there, it gets a little tough to hear as a former player. As a coach, I think what you would think is, we're coaching this and it's not getting through to them, so we have to coach it differently, right? Instead of, we coach that. We tell them, you got to do what you're told. It's like, well, they didn't hear it, they didn't take it, they didn't absorb it. If it's that obvious, start with me. What do I say? And I'm not knocking Dave Doran because we have a decade and a half of him being pretty good at eating the accountability part of it. So, I'm not going to take one quote and, blow it out of proportion. But I say it all the time. Any good leader, quarterback, coach, GM, owner of a professional team, defensive leader, in times of good, deflect credit. In times of bad, attract blame. And that's kind of what you have to do. It's never fun. It's never fun. I've been at press conferences where, I threw an interception, and the whole 100% of the reason was the receiver ran the wrong route. And you have to sit up there and go, I got to be better at protecting the football, can't put the ball in harm's way. Meanwhile, in the back of my head, I'm going it wasn't me at all. Great ball. You got to do it. And after the toughest games, the most frustrating the games where you feel a seat getting hot games, still got to do it. What number was that? I'm all over the place with these numbers. Oh, that's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us. Dallas, though, able to play it up for Nico Rantanen. Now Steele puts it out in front. Save made by Bussey on Hintz.
Carolina Hurricanes lost to the Dallas Stars to end their State Fair road trip. They'll play at home for the first time in a long while tomorrow against Vegas. For thoughts overall on the road trip, here's Rod Brindamore.
It's tough when you lose a game that was there for us. Probably shouldn't have won the game the other night, so I guess you could say it worked out. But, it's a huge concern with the injuries we have. It's not sustainable, to think that we're going to go out there and win every night when what we have back there. But those guys dug in and did the best they could.
They were forced to play unusual lines. They were forced to play unusual defensive pairings, unusual special teams groups throughout the last 3 games of a 6-game road trip. We talk about, in sports, winning the games you should win. Win the games you should win. Win the games you should win. And the reason being is that road trip the Carolina Hurricanes just went on. Thank goodness they won the first 3. When they were mostly healthy, when they were playing teams that weren't super contenders, they took care of business and won the games they should win. So when you are playing 3 of the better teams in the West to close out the road trip, and you are dealing with injuries, and you do have to play all those unusual pairings, and you do have to play all those unusual penalty kill and power play units, you can lose 2 or 3 and still come home with a 4-2 road trip that, I think it was Dennis. I don't think it was you, Max. Before the road trip, I said, what's success? And he said 4-2. If you hit 4-2, you're good. You hit that even with all of the obstacles and tough games you faced at the end of the road trip because you won the games you should win. In the regular season, that's good enough. Because, let's be real. If they get to the postseason and have to play a series without Slavin and Gostisbehere and Miller and Robinson and Carrier, and you haven't had a Svetch wake-up moment yet, and Ehlers still hasn't scored a goal. Like, if you get to a postseason and all of that is happening, you're not going to win the cup anyway. Right? However, if while they're out and dealing with it in October, in November, you keep building and you win the games you should win, and you find a way to be, near the top of the division, and then in the postseason, Ehlers is putting it together a little bit more. Slavin or Gostisbehere or Miller or some two of the three are playing and playing well. And, if all of that happens, you're fine. But you got to win the games you should win. And I think they did enough of that over the road trip for us to look at the whole thing as a success. At home. I was going to say at Vegas. Vegas at home tomorrow. Looks like Gostisbehere has a pretty good chance of being back. Pyotr Kochetkov might be back and available. Doesn't look like anyone else will be returning. Do your best. Try to steal one. Play well. Play hard. If your top line makes a few plays, I think there's every right to go into that one with high expectations.
We got the nice early start tomorrow too. It's part of the Frozen Frenzy. So NHL, every team is going to be in action tomorrow with the staggered starts, so they can do like a red zone kind of like whip around. Basically, I think probably the first game's probably started at like 5 or 6 p.m. and the last one probably starts at 10:30 or 11. So I don't think I'll be making it all the way through the end of that. But we're right in the middle at 6:30 there, so a little early.
If we're being real, thank goodness. The last 2 weeks of late starts.
Yeah, I'll take a little early over all the 10 p.m. starts we had over the last couple of weeks.
I mean, Duke had a football game started at 10. UNC had a football game started at 10:30. Canes have had 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 8. Like, I'm ready for a good old 6:30. Let me get some sleep here. Do I sound like the oldest man on the planet? That's fine. And finally, let's get to number one.
The one!
Carolina Panthers smoked by the Buffalo Bills. Dave Canales, after the game, said Buffalo beat them in every facet. This is what it sounded like from the head coach.
What they did in the run game today, unbelievable performance by them, by James Cook. He had a fantastic day and made some big runs. They consistently owned the line of scrimmage and made it challenging for us. We were not able to get our run game going today. Went to the pass game, and that's where the turnovers happened. And pretty clear story right there. We made it really hard on ourselves against a good team and, made it a really challenging situation for us. So would love to see better execution in those things, in those areas, and be able to move on from that.
Okay, so here's the deal, everybody. Andy Dalton did not play well. He did not. Andy Dalton did not play well, and the Carolina Panthers missed Bryce Young in a big way. Does anybody out there, and if you do, we can have a conversation about it. Does anybody out there think Bryce Young was worth 31 points? They lost by 31. They lost 40-9. Do you think Bryce Young, the difference between Bryce Young and Andy Dalton was 31 points? Right? There's no doubt in my mind Bryce Young playing the way he's been playing is worth some positive number, right? He would have helped. And maybe you could argue if he helped early on, the snowball never gets going against, the whole butterfly effect, and they stay in it. Maybe. I'm here for that conversation. Like I said, we can talk about it. But if you don't think Bryce Young is worth 31 points better than Andy Dalton, and keep in mind that it's pretty rare when Bryce Young starts that the Panthers score 31 points at all. So keep that in mind. If you don't think he was worth 31 points better than Andy Dalton, then there's at least two conversations that need to be had. Starting with, it was a big game for the Carolina Panthers. Right? How many times did we say going into the game? How many times was it said going into the game that this was the biggest game at Bank of America Stadium in years? A 4-3 Panther team hosting a contender in the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen coming in, and the defense was playing great, and the Panthers thought they had this little blueprint, this path towards winning. It was the biggest game in Bank of America Stadium in years. Buffalo had more fight. And I know at the end, Ashawn Robinson and Deion Dawkins got into it in the post game and they were shoving each other. But, like, I remember right at the beginning, I saw the reports because I don't normally pay attention to captains. But I saw, Shaq Thompson and Sam Franklin and one other, right? The three captains that went out there for Buffalo were all former Panthers. And I thought, oh, they're bringing a little bitterness. They're bringing a little bit of edge, right? And I hoped that the Panthers would meet them at that anger, right? Meet them at that extra juice. They did not, right? Ashawn Robinson getting into it with Deion Dawkins after the game. Guess what? You gave up 216 yards rushing to James Cook. You gave up 130 yards in the first half before contact. I hate to tell you, but whatever the offensive line is saying to the defensive line after that rushing performance, trash talk you kind of got to eat. Unless he said something personal, something about your family, something like, unless they crossed a line, you got to just eat that because to the victor goes the spoils. If you wanted to be the big tough guy, you had to be the big tough guy between the whistles. 40-9. I think the play calling has to answer for why the heck Rico Dowdle didn't get near the touches that Chuba Hubbard got. Chuba Hubbard with 12 touches, 12 carries, Rico Dowdle with 8. Rico Dowdle's been better in every stretch of the imagination over the last month. There's certain questions. Andy Dalton, certainly amongst them, probably most prominent for that game, but there's a lot that needs to be tackled there. Ironically, James Cook wasn't tackled often. Can you fix it? I don't know. I don't know if you play Buffalo again, if it's any better. I don't even know if Bryce plays, if it's a bunch better. But I know it would be more confidence-inducing. They look like a team that had no juice, and maybe that's what Bryce was bringing. Just a little bit more belief. Maybe that's worth 14 points and a little bit more respectable, and then we're not as negative here today. Who knows? I don't think it's worth 31, though. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, we need to grab some numbers game contestants. The prize for today, a pair of tickets to see Bryan Adams at the Lenovo Center on November 5th. If you want to see Bryan Adams, you got to call in and play the numbers game and win. You got to earn the tickets. The number to call, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to compete in the numbers game and win a pair of tickets potentially to see Bryan Adams at the Lenovo Center. One more time, 919-860-5326. Call in now. Numbers game next.
Adam.
I'm Adam Gold, and I'm there.
Tim.
I'm Tim Donnelly, and I'm there.
Dennis.
I'm Dennis Cox, and I'm there.
Victoria.
I'm Victoria Bodenecker, and I'm there.
Paul.
I'm Paul Eihander, and I'm there too.
You'll find them all here on the brand new 99.9 The Fan app. To work, to school, the beach, the mountains, the arena, take The Fan with you wherever you go. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today. Powered by Aspire Money Management.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
YouTube TV customers, you could lose ESPN and the sports you love, including college football, college game day, Monday Night Football, NBA, college basketball, and more. Take action. Go to keepmynetworks.com to keep ESPN.
It's bow time. Fumble in the food on game day? Rookie move. But you know Bo can make your tailgate a winner, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Because the Carolina Legend has everything you're craving. We're talking crispy, juicy chicken loaded with real Southern flavor, fluffy, scratch-made buttermilk biscuits, and all the fixins to feed your whole crew faster than you can say touchdown. Be the MVP this season and let Bojangles do the cooking. Order your tailgate today. It's bow time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The contestants for today, Terry in Raleigh and Liam in Cary. They will be battling it out with jersey number trivia to see who can win Bryan Adams tickets. As always, we'll bring them onto the show one at a time, and we will ask them the same question. Max will be the judge for today. He'll pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first. Terry in Raleigh, can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing well. The question you have to answer to see who goes first is this. We just finished a weekend, right? It's Monday. So looking back at the weekend, what was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related and somehow.
The highlight of my show is Patriots winning again.
You said Patriots winning again?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
was going to talk about something local, but really not a lot to talk about there.
You could spin it local. There's Drake May at the quarterback spot, so UNC guy.
There you go. Exactly.
And Matt Collins had a big day, another UNC guy. So there's some
That's
local
right.
touches
Oh, excellent. Cool.
There you go. Terry is locked in with the Patriots win. Liam and Cary, you are up next. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, same question to you. Weekend just ended. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, be sure to keep it sports related.
I would say going to a high school football game, even though the team I wanted to win lost 42-0.
All right. We won't make you say the team name to protect some maybe some confidence there. But we appreciate the answer. You are locked in. We'll see if it gets chosen. Max, what answer are you rolling with? The Patriots getting the W, or a high school football game despite the team that you're rooting for losing 42-zippy?
I'll go with Liam with the high school
All
football.
right.
It fits in with the local theme of basically every team lost this weekend. So he's like many of us. He's got a positive outlook on the loss though, which a lot of us could use. So.
By the way, if you want high school sports coverage, highschoolot.com. It's under our Capital Broadcasting umbrella here. Their cubicles are right near ours. Cover high school sports as good as anybody, as well as anybody.
Yeah, Joel Bryant, high school OT, actually popped in here during the Adam Gold show. He let me know. Basically, I guess as soon as he heard about the UNC corner commit that they got today, that decommitted from Penn State. So they're on top of everything. So if you want to know anything at all in regards to high school sports in the Triangle or North Carolina,
every place,
yeah,
every nook and
they're on
cranny,
top of it.
Yeah, they're really good at it. So check that out. He could tell you. I bet you if I said a team lost 42-0 this weekend, he'd be like, "Boom! It's this school. They're that good at it." Terry and Raleigh, you'll have your chance. Just have to sit on hold. Liam, you get to lead off. Are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, I am.
All right. The categories are NFL players that at some point or another were teammates of Tyrod Taylor, NFL players that at some point or another were teammates of Geno Smith, NBA All-Euros, meaning all players who came over from Europe, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
I'll go with Tyrod Taylor.
All right.
Actually, no, Smith.
Okay, you want Geno Smith teammates? That's what you're rolling with?
Yep.
All right. These are all players, NFL players, who are at one point or another in their career teammates with Geno Smith. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Odell Beckham Jr., New York Giants.
13.
Correct. Jacoby Myers, Las Vegas Raiders.
16.
Correct. Nick Mangold, New York Jets. Say it again.
82.
Incorrect. Rashad Penny, Seattle Seahawks.
34.
Incorrect. Nick Mangold, New York Jets.
Pass.
Derwin James, Los Angeles Chargers.
32.
Say it again.
32.
Incorrect. Rashad Penny, Seattle Seahawks.
30.
You got two. You got Odell Beckham Jr. You got Jacoby Myers. You have the weirdest phone connection ever. You are either crystal clear or it sounds like you're underwater. There's nowhere in between. I did my best to hear it for you, though. You got two. You got Beckham Jr. You got Myers. Nick Mangold, who passed away over the weekend, so sending support and condolences to everybody in his family, had some kidney issues. Potential Hall of Famer, one of the better players in that Jets run. Number 74 is what we were looking for. Rashad Penny with the Seahawks, number 20, and Derwin James, number 3 or 33, which is why I had you repeat it, because I couldn't tell if you said 32 or 33 there. Either way, you got two. So, Liam, you are the leader in the clubhouse. Go ahead and stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up. That brings us to Terry and Raleigh. Terry, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players that at one point or another were Tyrod Taylor's teammates, NBA players who are all European, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
I'll take Hurricanes throughout history.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. I will say the team, even though we know it in this category, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, that's good.
All right. You need at least 3 for the win, and your time will start when you hear the horn. Nikolai Ehlers, Carolina Hurricanes.
13.
Incorrect. Brandon Bussey, Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, man. 31.
Incorrect. Nikolai Ehlers, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Eddie Lack, Carolina Hurricanes.
17.
Incorrect. Brandon Bussey, Carolina Hurricanes.
31.
Incorrect. Nikolai Ehlers, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Eddie Lack. Oh, you can't pass. Say a number.
No. 8.
Incorrect. Eddie Lack. Do you know what the irony is? You guessed 31 for Brandon Bussey twice, and we needed 31 for Eddie Lack. So that one, and you were only one off with Brandon Bussey. It was 32 that we were looking for there. Ehlers, we were looking for 27. But either way, you gave it a good run. You came up kind of empty-handed there, but hopefully you had some fun.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. That means Liam and Carrie is the winner. Liam, congratulations.
Thank you.
You are the winner, which means you get the Bryan Adams tickets to see Bryan Adams at the Lenovo Center on November 5th. So congrats.
Yes, thanks for letting me play.
What was that?
You just said thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome. Stay on the line, and Max will grab the info he needs to make sure you get your prize. I swear I try to hear them all. I know I'm always like apologizing at the end of these. He won anyway, so the connection didn't end up being an issue. But it's a really tough decision in the moment, right? I feel like I'm an athlete making decisions on the fly when I think I hear the number they say and it's wrong. Because if I go like incorrect, move on to the next, and they actually said the right answer, I could really mess them over. So I that's why I tend to err on the side of say it again, because then once they say it again, I can know for certain whether they got it right or wrong, and we can move on. If we're being honest, I'm just terrified of messing it up for people. I want everybody to have their chance. I want it to be settled on the field. I don't want it to come down to the refs. I don't want to have to go to their instant replay. I don't want any of that. By the way, speaking of Numbers Game, we do a Numbers Game live event once a year. We get the perfect scores together. It's a whole game show thing, and it's streamed live on YouTube. Our subscribers list is now over 20,000. We did a big giveaway. We gave away a Nicky Ekwonu signed football in honor of making 20,000, and we want that to continue growing. So please, if you haven't done so already, if you're not part of that 20,000 plus, head to YouTube, search 99.9 The Fan, and subscribe. subscribe to the channel. You can check out videos for Pack Therapy, a podcast I host with Mike Lennon about NC State football. You can check out Kane's Corner. You can check out Panthers Playbook and clips from this show and all the other shows on our network. It's all on our YouTube at 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe while you are there and share it with your friends. We'll take a break. When we come back, the Canes have a game tomorrow. They have some roster decisions to make, some they've already made. We'll see how it impacts things moving forward. Go ahead and stick around. Canes hockey and more discussion coming up next.
We've got NFL tonight on 99.9 The Fan. Presented by Wake Med.
Showtime, prime time.
Your primetime matchup is a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's Washington and Kansas City.
Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7.
Here we go.
Kickoff at 8:15.
Put up or shut up time.
On the Triangle's home for the NFL, 99.9 The Fan.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate down to 4.99% APR? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days. Pay off all those high-interest credit cards and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. One call, life changed. There's no wait, no hard credit pull up front. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates are at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto, A+ rated with a BBB and nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 and see how much cash you can get today. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-171 on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So the Carolina Hurricanes have had some decisions to make. Not the kinds you wish you had to make at the beginning of the season, but decisions that you hopefully planned for. Right? Hey, what happens if this guy gets hurt? What happens if these guys get hurt? Who's next up? Who do we call up? It's almost, and we're going to talk about this throughout the week. Part of what I really enjoy about Eric Tulsky, the GM of the Carolina Hurricanes, is I don't think there's ever a day where he can't find something to do. Right? There are certain GMs that give the vibe off of, hey, our roster is good enough to win. I'm turning it over to the coach. If somebody needs me, call me. And then, they might say that with like golf clubs on their back. You know what I mean? Eric Tulsky, I'm not singling out any specific GM. I'm just saying that's like a trope. Eric Tulsky strikes me as, we don't have anything on the agenda today? All right, I'm calling 8 GMs. And these teams I'm going to call, so let's go ahead and have all their entire rosters pulled up, their entire systems pulled up, what future picks they have, because I'm going to act casual, but I want to be prepared if this conversation goes beyond casual. So when things like 3 blue liners go down and you end up with Mike Riley in, makes a lot of sense. He was your healthy extra. And then you end up with Legault in and you end up with Nystrom in, I don't think any of that is an accident, right? I think all of that was, very. I don't know if everybody else has this. When you have my kid, my son is about to go into elementary school and kindergarten, right? Big step. But I don't know what it is. Maybe they just hear me talking like Big Brother's always listening. My algorithm has started saying like, you need to have a plan for fire drills in your house. Talk to your kids today about, how to evacuate and where to meet up and everything else, which is all true and it's all good. But I almost feel like a GM's job is just to have that kind of vibe for everything, where it's like, okay, player A is hurt. What's the plan? All right, you call this person up from the AHL. You go talk to the trainer to figure out how long it's going to take. You call up this GM, that GM, and the other GM, because those are the ones that if we need to make a trade, that's where we're going to go. We like this player, and this prospect. Like it's just execution. So when you're in the emergency, you're not actually panicked, right? You just go into go mode. You just go into gotta have it mode. So I don't think anything was truly like out of thin air when Slavin gets hurt, Gus Spear gets hurt, Keandre Miller tries to play but gets pulled out of warmups and doesn't play. It was all just, all right, if there's a fire in our house, we're all going to meet at the oak tree down on the corner, right? You just go into business mode. So because of that, I think you just keep updating it, right? So now it looks like Gostisbehere is coming back. They made a move yesterday to send Legault back down to the AHL, and they called up Dominic Fensori. I think that is, again, a calculated move. Fensori probably more likely to be a healthy scratch where Legault can continue to get more and more minutes, whether that's AHL or NHL level. You want him playing every night. Nothing is an accident. Everything is intentional. Now, the reason why I say we're going to talk about this more as the week goes on is the season started, October 9th against the New Jersey Devils. And I considered the first month, maybe the first 2 months of the season for the Carolina Hurricanes, it's just information gathering, right? It's just figuring out what you need, what you have, what you should be excited about, what you need to work on. There are certain years where it's less than that, certain years where you're returning more, certain years where you have more veterans, certain years where maybe you didn't bring in such high-profile trade and free agency acquisitions, and maybe you know what your team is 2 weeks in. But this year, I said, first month or two, you're just gathering information. So if it started October 9th, we're sitting here at October 27th. We've got about 2 weeks till a month is up. I would say with all the injuries, you're probably still learning even beyond that, so it's probably closer to 2 months than one. There's options. There's things you can do. There's trades that can be made. There's picks and prospects and cap space that could be used. And it's funny how we're aware, and I've talked to Eric Tulsky about it on this program when he's joined us. We're aware that he's in every conversation. Right? It's why when there's certain big names mentioned and the Canes are thrown in there as like one of the teams that have reached out, I put almost no stock in that because I'm like, well, of course they are. They reach out on everybody. Right? And even if that player wasn't available, they were going to call that GM anyway just to chat because it's what he does. So because of that, there's these articles coming out, right? And we're starting to see teams deal with injuries for the first time, and we're starting to see kind of the haves and the have-nots differentiate themselves in the NHL. So we're seeing athletic articles, Pierre LeBrun, we're seeing Elliot Friedman, like all the national writers that you know, national reporters that you know, and they're just putting out state of the league kind of stuff. And I'll be darned if seems like all of them doesn't have some line about the Canes being aggressive or being to go, they're setting themselves up to go get a top end this or a top end that, or they're going to be in on any big name forwards or whatever. And I'm going, yeah, absolutely they are. I think they're also going to be in on or calling about any back end forwards or any top end blue liners or any goalies or any prospects or any picks because they call about everything. The question becomes, Not what are they going to call about. What are they going to feel motivated enough to pull the trigger on if they feel motivated enough to pull the trigger on anything? Because, I mean, if you just look at it recently, right? They were reportedly in on Mitch Marner. They were reportedly in on darn near everybody, right? They made the Mikko Rantanen trade when it seems like 9/10 of the league didn't even know Mikko Rantanen was available. The players that were dealing with the legal situation from the Canada junior hockey thing, the Canes were one of the few teams calling about it. Kaprizov, before he signed his deal with Minnesota, what happened? Well, the Canes were one of the teams that called and said, if it gets to the point, we'd be interested in trading for. Like every single player, every single one, the Canes were one of the few teams that called. When is it going to become obvious that they just call about everybody?
I like that he is so aggressive and that they stay in the mix, because in the past, like when it was Ron Francis or Jim Rutherford, even before, and Jim Rutherford, to his credit, in the year they won the Stanley Cup, they made some good moves. They picked up Doug Weight at the deadline. They're dealing with the Eric Cole injury, and they needed to bolster that team a little bit. They got Doug Weight. They got Mark Recchi, who's a NHL legend, added him to that roster and loaded up when they had to. But at least in the 2010s, especially when the Canes were really struggling and then, fan interest was waning a little bit, the playoffs weren't coming, there was no aggression really in terms of trying to get out there and make moves. It was very risk averse. They're like, oh, we're going to build through the draft. It's fine to build through the draft, but that can't be your only. You have to be willing to go out there and make hockey trades.
Yep.
Being willing to go out there and buy instead of just being a seller and picking up these future assets so you can keep trying to build through the draft, which again is good, but a team is assembled through a variety of different ways, and you never know if you'll be able to make a big swing and pick up a big guy if you're not getting your name in the mix and getting aggressive. And that is what I love about Eric Tulsky, is not only does he do that, but he doesn't also mortgage all the assets that the Canes have and the cap space that the Canes have in doing that. He strikes a great balance of being aggressive and being in on it while also preserving just a very team-friendly cap sheet.
And here's the beauty of being in on everything. You have like I said, you have a plan for everything, right? If you're calling about every player, and let's say some of these defenseman injuries ends up being more serious than you thought, and you thought you could pull up one of these young guys and play, but for whatever reason they're not getting it done. Okay, well, we've had talks about this guy, that guy, and the other guy. There are options for the Carolina Hurricanes. And they're not urgent. You don't have to make a move now. Matter of fact, it'd be kind of weird if you did. But once you gather enough information about the team, pull the trigger. And here's what I'll say about the Eric Tulsky big swings that Max was just talking about. I think it helps that he comes from an analytics background in a lot of ways, because it helps when you're making a move if you have some numbers to point to just to justify it, right? It's if you're like a true, and I think you need both in the building. If you're just a true hockey guy, right? You like to use the Trouble with the Curve, the old movie about scouting baseball. If you're someone that says a player is good based on the crack of the bat rather than advanced analytics, you feel real dumb, and other people treat you as you're real dumb when you're wrong, right? Why did we pay this guy all this money? Because I heard the crack of the bat and it's strong. And it's like, what? Meanwhile, if you're wrong on a guy and you're like, what? We gave this guy all the millions of dollars, and you go, well, let me show you why. I thought that he was worth the millions of dollars. He had this stat, this analytic, and, something happened and it changed. But it gives you something to stand on. So when you trade for a Jake Gensel and you don't win the cup, when you trade for a Mikko Rantanen and it doesn't work so obviously so quickly, it wasn't just I heard it. I saw him skate and I knew. Instead it was, no, here's all the reasons why I thought he could be the thing to put us over the top. It didn't work out. Here's where we're pivoting. There's a bit of explanation there, and I think that really helps. So my point is this. Injuries or not, great play from your studs or not, my expectations for this Canes team don't really drop. They might in the short term, right? Guy gets hurt, you got to deal with that immediately, like the end of this road trip. But the thing is, again, building off of what Max said about not mortgaging your future while also bringing guys in, they have the contingency plans. They have the picks and the prospects. They have the cap space. They have the young players. They have the depth. They have all of that. So, you know, if bad stuff happens after the trade deadline, that's a different beast. But if they need to go make a move to make something up, they've got the stuff to go make the move to make something up.
I can virtually guarantee that the Hurricanes will add somebody via trade at some point this season. And I think, that's not a shocking thing for anyone to hear either. It's not like I'm saying some kind of crazy bold prediction or anything. I don't know if that would hold up on Real Bold Predictions when we do that on Fridays, but they're just constantly looking to add. And they have a value on every player in the league, and they've researched anyone. Like you said, they've called on everyone. They know who's available. They know what these teams are asking for, but they also know what value they have on them, and they're not going to overpay. And it's been 2 or 3 years now in a row making a big move in season and trying to bulk up for the long haul. And I expect it to be no different when you come into the deadline with, they started the season with like 10-something million in cap space, but I'll say this about myself. I still don't fully understand how the accrued cap works in the NHL. I kind of get it, but at the same time, I don't. But
you can also, now with the long-term IR stuff changed, you can spend and get yourself in trouble for the postseason to where then you can't have your active roster.
The cap does
active.
matter more in the postseason, but they're going to add somebody at some point.
I agree.
And that shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody.
And the next month is about figuring out who and what and where and when and how much to spend. And I'm looking forward to it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Coming up next, we have Panther Talk here on 99.9 The Fan. So you'll hear from Dave Canales about the tough loss against Buffalo. And then after that, we have Monday Night Football, and it is quite the doozy. I believe Washington and Kansas City tonight here on 99.9 The Fan. So Jaden Daniels is or is not playing? He is not playing. It's Marcus Mariota.
He is out tonight. The Chiefs are pretty big favorites in this one, so we'll see, though.
That's
yeah,
why
crazy
they play
things
the game.
happen.
Brashard Smith, anytime touchdown scorer if you're looking for one, just because I traded him away in fantasy. So he's definitely going to score today. With that being said, please follow us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Please subscribe and download our app, 99.9 The Fan. And please be back tomorrow at 3 for more of The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We'll see you then.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines.